Oh shit, are we up? Okay. I'm not on the toilet. No, I was cleaning my one hitter. Welcome to the stream. What's up, ATF Media, South to West? What was I gonna tell you? I had some actual news today, and I've completely forgotten it. I don't know. I swear I was like, okay, finally, I have something some like actual something for the update, and I can't remember what it is. We're off to a great start today. It's gonna be a great stream. Let's break this down person by person. Okay, I did see that Ben and Grace had a two-part bike ride video. I didn't follow up after that. I did see that Naptown has up a video of the War Chief arc if you're interested in a catch up on that. The Healthy Family Force streamed. Joy did a stream, basically all kinds of topics, talking about Ava, talking about the Mets, talking about uh, Bill Maher. Jedi Rich, I guess, is thinking about going to LA to meet up with the Thorpes. I remember now. Hold on. I remember now. Ava did a stream where she covered like a bunch of different lolcows, and I actually think that was a really good idea. I watched quite a bit of it. I think that could really be a good idea for her because there's so few people in that space who cover like one, let alone like many people like lolcows and colorful people like that who show their face and who actually like you know what I mean. So I think that could be like a big could be a good thing. Two dorks riding bikes. Wow. Is that what people would say about ATF Media? What's up, Shay? What's up, Championship Wrestling from Jeremy? I hope you guys are ready for more of that old man at the theater because when I was getting the screenshot for the thumbnail on this, that old guy was on screen like the entire time. So he must have a huge segment in this. I had to go forever. I ended up having to go back to the beginning and just take the picture from the very beginning. I don't know if we're going to do a Vinny Slugga tribute anymore because he's back now. So, I mean, I'm going to give Vinny his own playlist. It's going to be called On the Air But Unaware, The Art of Vinny Slugga. So he'll get a tribute in that way, I guess. But he's back doing videos. In fact, he's got a great arc going right now. He's feuding with Amazon and he's posting like all of the phone calls. It's pretty interesting. Oh, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that, man. Oh, you got your Grace drinking out of the drinking her soft drink or sippy cup. Nice. What's up, F Wood? All right. What else happened? Beth was cashed out yesterday. She was recovering from her relapse. VP still putting out 24/7. In my opinion, when she's awake, it's interesting content. But that's it. Let's move on for ATF Media's sake into primetime number 51. We're getting a lot of zoo content, which I don't mind. I like the movie content. I'm interested to see what he goes over this time. I really liked hearing how the dude was like he was like he like fought against bringing in popcorn. So I'm interested to see what else he has to say. But anyway, this is episode 51. Showcase Cinemas, John Lowe, Southwick Zoo, Jimmy Sturr. What's up, Ananje? Cinema Guy may be the new. I mean, this looked like it was like at least half the show, for sure. Trying to get a screenshot. George Dorunda, I think he would want nothing to do with the Thorpes. He seems honestly like a pretty no nonsense guy, but if he still had the show, I bet he would talk to him. He'd probably talk to anybody. Grace doing a sleep stream right now. I'll have to take a pass on that, Joe. I did like the following. I did like the RV streams though, when her and Ben would sleep in the front seats.
Program has been pre-recorded so we can have time to make our getaway. See you later, dog.
He'll talk to anybody he wants, as he should.
From Showcase Cinemas, get the picture? It's prime time with
Trad girl sleeps in bunk bed.
George Dorunda. Tonight, more behind the scenes here at Showcase with John Lowe and giant cats over at Southwick Zoo.
Oh no.
Plus, Jimmy Sturr and the Jimmy Sturr Band.
There was the guy from
so
Reflection.
Get ready for the most entertaining show on television.
Thursdays it becomes so special. Yeah, it is kind of like once I get past Wednesday, then everything feels like it's all like, you know, I don't really, it's the earlier in the week is more stressful. And I mean, when I say stressful, I don't really mean stressful, but you know what I mean. Of like deciding what to watch and hoping that the episodes are going to be decent and that the weird shit won't pop up on screen unexpectedly. But at least with like George, like Thursday and Friday, you know, it's just like, it's gold.
Welcome to the show, and thank you very much for joining
Whoa,
us
is
here
he
this evening.
miniaturized?
I'm George, and I'm the host for our little program here tonight. And I don't know if you've heard, but
Is he
they
miniature?
plan at the White House to open up a Burger King right on the grounds of the White House. Can you believe that? I understand their slogan's going to be billions and
Downhill.
billions of Whoppers told here. Hey, but anyway, we have a great show, so let's get right on. My first guest.
Has George been miniaturized and like am I the only one that it looks like he's standing on the, like, it seems like he's a miniature version of himself.
Knows more about.
I do want to say up front, just to let you guys know, I did get some more elephant trunk. So it could be a fun few days.
The motion picture business than most people will ever forget. Hey, it's a pleasure to welcome back to the big program, Showcase Cinema's own John Lowe. Well, John, welcome to Prime Time.
Good to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here at Showcase Cinemas. And they tell me you have all the answers. You've been in the motion
Came
picture
for the wrestling,
movie theater
stayed for
business
Dorunda.
for a number
Fair.
of years.
Since 1942.
And what was your first job when you entered the business?
At the Calvin Theater in Northampton as an usher for 25 cents an hour.
What an electric
You were an
start.
usher for 25 cents an hour.
Right.
And what did it cost to go see a movie back then?
50 cents. 50
You gotta work
cents for
2
first
hours
run
to go to a movie?
44 cents up in the balcony and 55 cents in the smoking lodge. And there was a 10-cent government tax on that at the time. So
Ooh,
the price
10
was
cent
actually
tariff?
10% higher.
So they charged you more to smoke.
Yes.
But those were the days
That
when
was
you,
a lower balcony
those were the days when you could smoke
in the theaters. That's right, before the Coconut Grove fire.
Did you work your way up at the
Yes,
Calvin?
yes, I was an assistant manager at the Calvin in about a year and a half, and then I went over to the Plaza in Northampton, which is closed now, as a manager when I was 17. And I was there.
Would they be wearing a suit? Absolutely not. No. They would be wearing a pair of slacks and a plain white shirt. If you're lucky, they'd probably be dressed just like the employees.
For about a year till I went into service into the Air Corps at Lowry Field, and I ran theaters there for a year and a half.
Now, some people might think that 44 cents, 55 cents to see a movie, but to put that in perspective, we were looking at one of the earlier ads, and you could buy a car for $600.
Yeah, you could buy a loaf of bread for a dime. You could get 2 packs of cigarettes for a quarter.
A local bed for a dime?
And gasoline was 13 or 14 cents a gallon.
You mean you could just rent a bed every night for a dime? Man, talk about saving on housing costs.
So, I mean, 50...
Is that 30 cents a month?
55 cents was still a lot of money.
So it was all relative.
That's
to
right.
Or no, it'd be like
The
70
the
cents a
same
week.
scale of prices that we have today.
Exactly.
So you could,
And
okay.
then you...
So you could go to see a movie, or you could basically rent like a place to stay for a week. $3 a month.
had some work over at the Capitol Theater in Springfield?
No, actually, what happened then, after when I got out of service in the Air Corps, I went back to the Calvin and back to the Plaza as manager, and then I went up to Greenfield, to the Garden Greenfield in 1950. And I was manager up there for about 4 years.
He's in the he's in the next one too, ATF Media.
And then I became a
pretty
district
sure.
manager for Goldstein for Western Mass Theaters. And we had a lot of theaters: Victory, Holyoke, Suffolk, Holyoke, Calvin in Northampton, Paramount in Brattleboro.
Yeah, look, you can see him down here. He's in 53. So he's in 50, 51, and 53. I don't know if he's in 52 or not.
Garden, Greenfield, Paramount in Springfield, Bijou,
Loaf of bread. Oh, I thought he said you could rent a local bed.
in Holyoke, Bing in Springfield, Paramount.
So they were chains
It was a
similar
chain
to
of
what we have
14.
today.
That's right.
Well, I heard it back in like during the big wars that you could get pretty much anything 10 at a time for a dime.
Chain of 14 theaters owned by Samuel Goldstein.
And what kind of promotions did you used to run in those days?
Well, we did almost everything. The theaters like Greenfield.
So if a loaf of bread is 10 cents and going to the movies is 50 cents, so bread's 5 times more expensive. So how much is like a cheap loaf of bread now? Like $2? So if you went across that, why would I want to rent a bed? To sleep somewhere. What do you mean, why would you want to rent a bed?
Were the key theater in
So if it's okay, so that would mean the equivalency would be going to the movies is $10, which I don't know if you can really. How much is a normal like evening ticket to the movies? I haven't been in years. I know you can go like during certain times and matinees for like $5, but
the town. We'd run kiddie shows.
$4 for a loaf of bread where you're at. So that'd be $20 for a movie ticket. That seems like it might check out.
On Saturdays.
I think you can get bread here for like maybe like a couple bucks or $2.50 if you get like whatever the store brand is.
Pencil box shows we give the kids.
Would I really want to rent a bed? I don't know if I'd want to rent one, but I mean, if I was in a situation, 10 cents seems pretty crazy for a bed.
It's a free pencil box just before school in September, actually the end of August.
Late August.
And get a merchant to sponsor that.
South to West still has his pencil box from the theater.
Put a little label on the school box. We'd have Hostess cupcakes.
What if you just wanted to clap somebody and you needed a place to do it? You could just rent a bed for 10 cents. They'll charge you, most places will charge you a full rate, even if you just want to go in and fuck. So like 10 cents for a bed, that could be a good deal.
Shows where you'd give
It would cost you more than 10 cents though. Well, I guess back in those days, they probably didn't wash the sheets between.
the kid a twin pack of Hostess cupcakes. We had paydays, which the kids would receive a little envelope, and in the envelope would be a nickel and a penny and a dime, or all sorts of combinations of things. It was like a lottery almost. So every kid got a pay envelope. We had cartoon shows, of course.
Wow.
Where they would see 2 features, usually a Western and an action picture.
Oh my God. See, this is what I wish my channel could be. I wish we could like have those like watch like old movies and old cartoons and like recreate that like either Saturday morning experience where you had like a block of programming, or like Saturday afternoon where it was like cartoons and then like a afternoon movie. I hate copyright.
10 cartoons, a cereal, and a newsreel.
Oh my God,
All for
cereal. We need to watch some
9 cents or
cereals.
25 cents or 35 cents, depending upon what the prices were at the time.
So unlike today where you go in and you see a feature, you had an afternoon's worth of entertainment.
Yeah, there was double features right up into the 50s. Into the
We only got one Bob
mid-50s,
Simpson.
where the first run theaters played 2 pictures. And
I'll get taken down. We've tried it a bunch of times. Like I could do it on Twitch, but I can't do it here on YouTube. I could do like shitty movies that we don't want to watch. I want to see shitty movies that we haven't watched, or like, stuff that I don't know.
2 pictures in a newsreel and a couple of shorts, depending upon the running times of the shows.
Like I see people who post like watch-alongs to WCW and WWE stuff, but like they're doing it on another platform and then they're uploading it here without the they just cut it to whatever, to where it can be visible but not monetized. I don't really give a shit about monetization, but like I can't live stream that here and nobody's on Twitch.
During the war, in the 44,
Twitch will let you do
42,
anything
43, 44.
over there
They
copyright-wise.
did play
except music
certain
for some.
pictures as single features.
Like music in a movie or in a wrestling show is okay on Twitch. Like you just can't play it, you know, just by itself. Sometimes some people are iffy about it, but you can watch movies on Twitch, TV shows, anything, wrestling.
With a couple of shorts. They did that primarily because these were big box office pictures like Action in North Atlantic, Casablanca, things like that.
No Alex
And
Jones.
they did it so we could run an
They'll shut
extra
me down
show
for that.
and get more people in. The problem in those days was how to fit all the people into the theater. Because you had a tremendous amount of people that were free. They had gas rationing, so they had an A card. They used to take buses instead of cars. And they had defense jobs. So we would run a Friday morning show at 10 o'clock in the morning and run continuous from 10 o'clock in the morning to get that, what we call an early bird show. Or we would run late shows. All the Springfield downtown first run theaters in those days were running from 9:30 in the morning, 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning, every day, except on Sunday, because Sunday you had a blue law at the time, you couldn't open until 1 o'clock.
So in those days, parking downtown was not a problem because not too many people were driving cars anyway.
There were by the Paramount Theater, behind the Paramount Theater was a place called Leo's Auto Park, and there were parking garages.
I don't know if how many of you remember, but last time we tried to do the Saturday like movie experience, I found like an old 40s Western that had like all the commercials in it and like all the local shit, and then Warner Brothers shut it down after like 10 minutes.
But the bulk of the people came by
Bastards.
in bus or public transportation or however they got there. We didn't seem to ever know. In Northampton at the Calvin, we had...
I mean, exactly, South to West. I think there's an element of it that's like, you know, being in the entertainment business, but I do think a lot of it is nostalgia driven, which I can understand because George is wanting the simpler era from, you know, a couple decades earlier when he's making this, and we watch a lot of content from, you know, 30 to 40 years back from where we are.
About 6 car parking
Maybe
places
everybody
behind
just
the
always
building in the
wants
alley. We had some
whatever's gone.
parking places on Main Street, but most of the people, we don't know where the 1,800 people came from, but they came evidently by bus.
1,800
or whatever.
At 50 cents a
And then
head.
Showcase Cinemas opened in
Buy a car for
1964.
that.
Well, I went with Showcase in 1962 in September, and we built our first theater,
62.
Redstone Theaters. We built our first theater in downtown Worcester.
So he's been in business then theoretically here for 31 years, right? This is 1993.
Not in downtown Worcester so much as
1961.
upper off of
62,
Main
what'd
Street.
he say?
It was an old theater that they converted, and they actually didn't convert it in the sense of today. They just rebuilt it. They tore the whole thing down and left a shell of the two side walls and the rear wall, and they put a new roof on it and built the whole thing over as a very luxurious, what we call art house type cinema, with 660 seats. It's a single house, and we were coming right in playing first run pictures. Well, within a few weeks, we had The Longest Day as a road show. We had
Oh, The Longest
Lawrence of
Day, the
Arabia,
old war movie.
and My Fair Lady,
Oh.
things like Dr. Zhivago. And of course, we
Dr.
started doing
Zhivago,
tremendous business.
shit.
Now, we charged $1.50 at the time, and we were 25 cents higher than the downtown first run houses. They were all charging $1.25, and we were charging $1.50.
Could you explain what is a road show?
Well, a road show is
Do you think this guy has the energy for sex? He seems pretty out of it.
an opportunity for you to buy your tickets in advance, which could assure you of a specific seat
Oh.
rather than just a seat.
So in those days, you had assigned seating.
We had reserved seats. When you do a performance like that, a roadshow performance, there's usually only 2 showings. One in the afternoon at 2 and one at night at 8. And you run a matinee on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And during a no-school period, you would run a matinee daily. This would be for a picture like Sound of Music, for example. And people
Imagine this
liked
guy during a
road shows.
Minecraft screening.
We charged $2 and $2.50 in the early road shows, and we were playing it at the same time it was in Boston. It was an exclusive run, which meant that when we played a road show here in Springfield, it was not available for Greenfield, Pittsfield.
Segregated
Closest place you could see it would
It
be
was
Hartford.
exclusive, and you were usually opening around the same date as the film would open in
That's
major
right.
markets such as New York or
That's
Boston.
right. And usually we had a 70mm presentation, which was a super wide film, and we had a 6-track stereophonic sound,
Much
which
slower,
was part
yeah.
of the equipment that you had to have in order
This
to
would be a
play
good
these road
ASMR.
shows. Later on, they came out for the normal theaters about a year later. And they were very popular, and we would sell tickets in advance and do a lot of group sales, fundraising benefits, theater parties.
Oh, I'm sure he went there a lot.
School morning shows.
He's a big movie
and,
guy.
things of that nature. And it was a very prestigious type operation. A lot unlike the grind-away pictures that we have now. Although there
Yep, that's correct, Rush Limbaugh.
was a period
Sorry,
of time,
buddy.
was a period of time where we were playing a roadshow picture
I would have looked back at you as I walked to my seat, though, and I would have like given you a thumbs up, like in solidarity.
in one house,
I would have shook the guy down too and tried to get you moved down.
and in our twin house, something else, a
But by the time he explained anything to me, the movie would be over.
commercial film.
So attending a movie in those days was an event.
Yes, that was one of our slogans that we coined, where movie going is an event. And as I showed you in some of the pictures we looked at when we were talking about the show, everybody dressed up to go to the movies.
In this era, they're like, how can we bring in more customers? Let's put on elaborate road shows that are limited time showings that open the same time as New York and Los Angeles. Let's bring in like art house features. Let's whatever. Nowadays, people are like, let's make a sexual popcorn bucket that will trend on TikTok.
The women were all dressed in their skirts and coats, and the men were dressed up in their suits. Nobody came in jackets and jeans. I mean, it would be the lone stranger. They would look at you and say, who is this guy? But anyway, that was the way it was. And the people really enjoyed going out to a show. And although they still do today, it was a
look at
lot
this.
different in those. Of course, we played to a lot more of an adult audience, too. Not because the pictures were adult, but it seemed to be that they had more appeal. For some reason, we didn't get as many teenagers as we do now.
And today the teenagers seem to outweigh the adults.
Well, they have been up until just the
Oh,
past
look at
2
these
years.
people
and
out to
now
see a movie.
the
Wow.
pendulum is swinging back again. They're making more and more pictures for adults, not necessarily adult-themed pictures like Basic Instinct, but just pictures that adults would like to see.
Imagining that this takes place the same time that Basic Instinct is freshly into the world is so wild. It feels like two completely, like, how can this guy exist in the Basic Instinct era?
Like Fried Green Tomatoes and
Oh, there we
On Golden Pond and things like that. And
On
new
Golden
pictures like
Pond.
Scent of a Woman, which now are crossing over to both audiences, to the adults and the teenagers and young college kids. People are getting
buddy. Tons of college kids would rather go to see Fried Green Tomatoes than to see Catherine Trammell Flasher Beef. I don't think so, buddy.
educated as
This is why this guy, resisted popcorn for so long.
far as what they want to see. They want to see better pictures again now.
We looked at a picture.
I've never
with
eaten at a
the
strip
little girl
club.
from The Sound of Music that you had.
Oh,
here.
yes.
And she came around and did a promotion for one of the
Yes.
films.
Many times they would send people that were not superstars like Elizabeth Taylor, but they were people that had parts in the film. For example, one was the girl in Sound of Music, the small little girl in Sound of Music, who came around on the second reissue of Sound of Music, and our job
touch
was to
with the
take
kids,
her
it's
to
true.
television stations and the radio stations.
In my day, Ananje, you would put your dick through the bottom of the popcorn cup so that the girl would reach in for the popcorn and grab your dick. Now they make popcorn tubs that replace the date. You know what I mean?
in Springfield and in Hartford and in New Haven. And get promotion from these pieces, have her interviewed and so forth. There wasn't as much television interviews or interviewers or movie shows as there is now. There's a tremendous amount of shows now.
Yeah, I probably was 13 or 14.
Film. But Disney used to send girls around also, Miss Disneyland.
Miss Disneyland.
And, or Miss Disney World,
you used the
whichever.
drink cup.
And we would take these people to the same groups. But also Disney sent out Annette Fonsinello, who we had.
Annette
Roy
Funicello,
Williams,
wow.
who was the big cartoonist. Jimmy Dodd, who played the ukulele in the Mouseketeers show. And we would go into the schools. We would get a call from the coast, and they would say they would be into Greenfield, for example, on the 5th of September, and they would like to go to as many schools as they could. They would meet us at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we would have 12 or 14 schools lined up for them.
They used to do this a lot more back in the day, like having celebrities, even if they weren't the A-listers, but having celebrities do local stuff to drum up interest for projects. Most of the time, if it like that I remember, they weren't really coming in person anymore, but like you would see them interviewed on the local news. But it would be like 90% of the time it would be like fluff. You know, these are the questions to ask. And if you watch all of the different interviews from people that have them, like they're all pretty much the same. But every once in a while you'd get somebody who like really was just like on one. And I remember the mom from Everybody Loves Raymond was on our local TV and was drunk, like trying to do some kind of cooking thing or something. And it was like a complete disaster.
And we'd get in the car and off we'd go, and we would hit 8 schools in one morning and 8 schools in the afternoon. And the sisters and the teachers would have the kids.
Well, that's true. I would have been 13 or 14. And also, I went to Basic Instinct. I saw it on a drive-in screen. It was a double feature with Thunderheart with Val Kilmer. And I don't remember ever having any inclination to watch On Golden Pond or Fried Green Tomatoes.
Already in an assembly or in one of the bigger rooms. And Roy or Jimmy Dodd would have this big
what a run of
pad
movies though coming
black
up in
charcoal,
the from like
and
93 to 98.
Sit down in front of the kids, and they would start, and they had their Mouseketeer hat on and a Mouseketeer shirt, and they
And the
would
Attitude
start
Era.
drawing, and they would go up to the sister and say, "What is your name, sister?" And they would put her initials, and out of that they draw a velvet caricature of the sister, and this big sheet. They would
Oh,
give it.
nice. Gettysburg.
So they would do about, I would say, 50 or 60 sketches like that in one day. And of course, the kids would just go crazy about these things. And
I've
when
seen
they
it
left
now,
at
but
night,
I mean,
and
like
they
as a
would do
kid,
that
I
for
wouldn't
5
care
days
to
a
see
week
it.
for a period of a month before one of their Disney films.
Oh yeah, Milko. Those were some of like way back in the day. That was like one of the original memes. Like people always would pass that around on cassette, on like VHS cassette tapes.
So the motion picture companies did a lot
TMNT
more
and
to
Gremlins
promote
2, nice.
films
At
in those
grassroots
days.
level. Now, of course, the television, they can go on a couple of big shows and cover the whole country in a couple of big shows.
But before it was a more personal.
It was more personal. It was. I can remember Deborah Paget. We had a promotion, Movies Are Better Than Ever. And they came from Boston, and we hit about 10 towns.
Movies are better than
in
ever.
the summer. And
They're doing great.
Deborah Paget and Robert Wagner. Now, these were just new names at the time. She was in Broken Arrow, the Jimmy Stewart picture with as the Indian girl. And Robert Wagner was in Between Heaven and Hell. But they were just starting. They were Fox contract players. There was a screenplay writer and a small minor director. And
I told you
went
it was
to
a long
Greenfield,
interview.
Athol, Orange, places, Fitchburg,
Places
Leominster.
where today you'd
I
never
just
find
wanted a
a superstar.
thumbnail.
That's right. You'd
I
never
had to
find
keep,
anybody.
I had to keep
And,
scrubbing forward.
We would get 50 or 100 people at a little luncheon or just a reception or a place for stop for coffee and donuts. They just did a
Oh,
tremendous
nice. Wild,
amount of
Wild
publicity
West.
to fight the television inroads and things like
That'd
that.
be a good
which
movie to
later
see.
on
I mean,
they
I
came to
don't think
use,
it's a good
at
movie,
those
but it'd
days
be a
they were
fun one
fighting
to see at the
against it,
drive-in.
Well, we are just about out of time this time on Primetime, and thanks for being here. We will have you back
Okay, so out of a 30-minute show, this guy got about at least 16 and a half minutes. Not bad.
real soon. And stick around. We'll be
Can't wait till 53 so we can pick it back up again.
back with more primetime fun right after this.
I was there when TVs went from black to colored. That's kind of true in a way, but it was only because my family was poor. So, like, we had a black and white TV for a while I was alive, or like when I was a kid, but then we got a color TV. But that was actually a really good day, because when we upgraded, they moved the little black and white TV into my bedroom. So then I could play Nintendo back in my room. So that was like a real game changer. Cinema 1, 2, 3, 4.
What are you doing this weekend that's so important you can't take a little time to test your home for radon? After all, it is the second leading cause of lung cancer.
Did you guys see that there's a bunch of people that are mad on social media because they're concerned that GTA 6 will be anti-police? Like, I couldn't... It has to be an Onion thing, right? Like, that's so bizarre.
And a radon test kit is inexpensive. You could pick one up on your way to get a few things for the yard.
My grandma had a remote, but it was like a big bulky like square, and then it had like one button that you could shift for on and off, and then that was it. You couldn't actually change the dial from there. You could just turn it on. But the remote was like incredibly it was like bigger than it was much bigger and heavier than cell phones are now.
Welcome back to the big program.
I don't know if you played video games, but do you remember like back before they had like the clean plugins and you'd have to like do the like screw in shit? Oh my god, I hated that. What would they call it? It was like an RF adapter. What GTA game was Pro Police? That's what I mean. I don't get it. I mean, I understand that like manufactured outrage is important to keep the social media economy going, but like I just wish there was some like just regular stuff out there still, where you could like go and they'd be like, or that's not AI written. It seems like it's either like snowflake outrage over whatever, or it's an AI article. Like I can't even get any real like news about movies or video games anymore.
As we call it here on... Wait, I can't do that. See, that's not me. By the way, kids, if you want to learn something about how to be on television,
Groundhog Day,
how to speak correctly on television,
Glory. Remember that one with Civil War with Matthew Broderick? Did that have Morgan Freeman in it?
Oh, soon it may be an accredited course. A half hour of prime time every week. You will gain your daily...
Yeah, you'd have to like slide it had like a little slider on it.
...requirements for anything you want to know about speaking on television. And hey, by the way, it's time...
Once I became like an adult, I bought one of the newer model NESs, the ones that are the top loaders, and then I had it like modified so that it ran off of HDMI and like... Well, before I got the HDMI upgrade, I had just like the regular like audio-visual cables.
Time for the 6-time Grammy Award winner, Jimmy Sturr, and the Jimmy Sturr Band. But he didn't win a Grammy this year, so he's only, second?
On where this originally aired? Well, it was on... Yeah, it aired on, I want to say he says CBC or something like that. It has to be based out of Massachusetts, I think. It was 1993. It started in 80. I think it's 89 to 96, but it's definitely New England. I think it's based out of Massachusetts. But whatever that CBC or whatever it is the people that are like where he's making it at. Were you here, Joe, when he did the tour of the channel?
Place in back of Aretha Franklin.
Oh, Mad Dog and Glory. There you go.
For all-time
My bad.
top consecutive Grammy Awards. But here he is anyway, Jimmy Sturr and the Jimmy Sturr Band.
It's a warning about more interviews with the movie guy. I love that. I should have done this for the thumbnail.
Grammys.
Come on, everybody, let's do a little hand clapping. Right after that, we've got more with the Versatones. Freddie Volinsky and the Brass Works.
Oh, look, he's actually doing something.
In the meantime,
Deadbeat.
brand new. Come on, do a little hand clapping. Go.
Hey, now we got it. Look at this nightmare blunt rotation here. Wow, what a lineup. Yeah, he gives a whole tour of the movies, of the TV station. It was pretty cool. I think it would have been on the last one, so it should be like episode 47, 48, 49, or 50. That's the kind of shorts I wear, ATF Media, so get ready for the IRL this summer. Remember when the Jimmy Sturr Band played, I always still say El Generico, Sami Zayn down to the ring to play this for his music?
I learned to love that polka music. I learned to dance around the floor. I grew up listening to my favorites.
These people have like 20 Grammys. That's insane. I think you're right about the sign being like a, a meta simulation joke, because I think this was the last episode. We spent a bunch of time with the movie guy. We saw a Jimmy Sturr performance, and then we went to the zoo. Look at that guy there. Oh my God. Look at this guy. Polka music today.
Please don't be frightened. We'll be returning in a couple of minutes.
Oh, it's just a weird camera angle. It's okay. I see now why I thought he was miniaturized. No one has done as much for polka music on YouTube as George Dorunda.
Yo, Alf here. Apparently some chowderheads out there aren't taking care of this planet. They're messing up public lands. They're littering the beaches and vandalizing the parks.
Talk about
folks,
foreshadowing.
Public lands are not like pizzas. You just can't pick up the phone and order more. So let's take care of our land. Let's save the planet. Call me and promise you'll help. I'll send you a bunch of neat stuff. It's my way of saying thanks. It's
South to West. If you send a message to this puppet, he'll send you a bunch of cool shit.
an acknowledgement of your concern. It's a bribe.
Welcome back to the big program, and we're here at Showcase Cinemas.
projection
We're in the projection booth. This is something they call a platter. We learned all about that on the last episode here of Primetime. And hey, where can you go to see something that weighs hundreds of pounds, has big teeth, and eats large amounts of raw meat every day?
Entertainers.
No, not over to Chiquette's house for a barbecue. We should head over to Southwick Zoo with our friend Aaron and look at some really big cats.
So tell us about the big cats we see here.
Well, we have a white tiger over there. He's relatively rare for tigers. He's not albino, he's white.
Oh, this guy's awesome.
And we have a normal
Cutie pie.
orange tiger, Bengal tiger. They're indigenous to India. The white tiger's a male.
Watch George's face during
The
this
other's a
interview.
female. Not as of yet breeding.
No,
We hope to.
He's
no,
already
the
kind
white
of
Bengal
frustrated
tiger,
with the
Are
guy.
they endangered in any way?
They're not so much endangered as rare. I mean,
We don't see them around too often.
no, they're a rare cat.
Is it because of their white color that they're...
Well, in the wild, the white color is an advantage, is a disadvantage for survival, because they aren't camouflaged like they would normally be, and they fall prey to other animals more often than they would.
Sounds like
normally
somebody
be.
talking to me.
So they
Hey
don't
man,
blend in with the
they're
surroundings.
rare,
No,
man.
not at
These
all.
are rare cats.
Which is why you don't see too many white tigers.
And what kind of food do they eat?
Oh, they eat meat, all kinds of meat. We feed them here. It's
They don't eat bananas like the other animals
no,
around.
they don't eat bananas. They don't like bananas at all. They eat a Hamburg type substance here that we feed
They eat
them,
a Hamburg
you know.
type.
So it's an all beef diet.
Yeah, it's all beef. They don't get any vegetables or fruit. It's all meat. We feed them twice a week. Oh, we're moving them up to 3 times a week now as we're going into the winter. And they get fed about 50 pounds a week meat in total.
And how long can one of these animals live?
They
White
can
Lion,
live
the
up
band?
to 25 years. They can live 25 years. Longer in captivity than in the wild.
George
They're nice
Dorunda,
cats,
Jake
though.
Steele.
Do you ever have to get in the cage with them?
No, we don't go in with them. That's a little too risky.
And what's the difference between the lions and tigers?
The lions,
That's a great question, George.
they're a little bit bigger, heavier. The lions have a mane. The male lions have a mane. And lions come from Africa, and you won't find any tigers in Africa.
So it's basically their place of
Ooh, hey,
origin.
quit biting
Yeah.
him.
They don't cohabitat.
What would happen if they're both part of the cat family?
Yeah.
If you did put them together,
I don't know.
would it be World War III or?
I don't know. We'd have to try it to see what happens, but you never know. It could go either way.
Is their diet basically the same as
It's the same as
White
the tigers.
Lions hit song.
solid meat?
Oh,
Kind
man.
of like my diet.
Yeah.
Wonder if they like
couldn't-
pizza.
I can't remember.
I don't know. We never tried pizza.
And in the winter,
Yeah, I normally stream Monday through Saturday. We have kind of a schedule. Thursday is always prime time with George Dorunda. Thursday is always prime time with George Dorunda. Friday is always Memphis Wrestling. And then Saturday is usually either a movie or like a catch up of the like Boyd stuff that I watch.
time,
The wintertime, they stay right here. They play in the snow. They enjoy it.
really?
Yep. At one time, lions were found in Europe. They no longer are, but that just shows you that they can take the weather. The winter isn't a problem for them. They sleep most of the day away.
And George is doing this probably sober too, which makes it tough. Like if somebody's kind of being dry with me, I'm all my like social guards are down, so I'll just say something, a drastic subject change or something. George is committed to the journalism.
So let's see. They have my kind of diet
Yep.
and my kind of activities.
Yeah. Maybe
It was
you should go in
weight?
there with them.
I don't remember that song.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had way too much fun here at Showcase Cinemas. It's time to go and see another movie. We must now leave the air. Good night, everyone.
Look at that guy hoping to get an HJ. Tony Schiavone tearing the tickets. Yeah, I don't remember that song. Oh, yeah. Mondays we've been watching, like, UFO stuff, cryptozoology, mysteries of the unknown. Fred Farhadi. Who's Farhadi? Farhadi. Fred Farhadi. Fred Farhadi. Ladies and gentlemen, Fred Farhadi. I'm not going to remember that name ever again, but I had a great time over there for a second. I was thinking so too. I'm so used to, like, if something is like happens on screen, like there's gonna be a payoff for it. So I thought it was gonna like yank him back or cut the, like when it pulled out of his pocket, it would cut the episode would end or something. Fred Farhadi, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he does a bunch of shit on the show. Oh, Bethadone Clinic has started her research into the New England serial killer, so I'm excited for that yap. I can't wait. Yeah, he's a real man about town. Literally. There you go, Joe Shabatoni. CSC TV. I don't know if we talked about this or not, but there is, I don't know, about an hour from here, there is a public access channel. I don't know that just anybody can use it, but I keep getting high and forgetting to look into it. But it would be kind of funny to have a show on regular TV where you show like Boit clips. I couldn't take calls or anything, but it would be a pretty funny show. Or interesting while it lasted.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
I'm not sitting through that. We paid our tribute to George. Primetime 52, baby. Oh, we're raw dogging it. We don't know who's on the show. What's up, Russell Plunge? This guy is like George's Lalo.
From the blizzard of 93, the world's biggest stress test, it's Primetime with George Dorunda. Tonight, more at Showcase Cinemas with John Lowe.
Oh my
Plus,
God.
The
ATF Media. So he's on 50, 51, 52, and he's the thumbnail of 53. 4 consecutive episodes of John Lowe.
Dragon Band and the Jimmy Stir Band.
And
so
Jimmy
get ready
Stir.
for the most entertaining show on television.
We can do it, guys. Don't worry. Let's work together.
Hi, I'm George Dorunda, and welcome to Primetime. And let me
Look at
say
this
that I
green
couldn't be
screen.
happier to have you folks here with us this very night. We're saluting the big blizzard of 93. And you know, there is a sign, even with the blizzard, that the economy is getting better. Earlier today in Washington, D.C., the United States congressman wrote a check, and it cleared. Hey, how about that? But let's just introduce our first guest. We're going to launch this thing right to the moon during this big blizzard. It's the Chet Dragon Band.
No way, Chet Dragon. Yeah, we're big time George Dorunda fans around here. I'll watch South to West absolutely anything George Dorunda puts on. I'll watch anything. I do trust him. It's not always going to be the most exciting or the most memorable, but it's always going to be like interesting, I think. I love this green screen.
Performing baseball hot dogs. I don't think so, not yet.
Okay, so the Chet Dragon Band. Chet is married to Mary Lou Dragon, who ATF Media believes is a severe sexual deviant. Now her husband is singing a song called Baseball Hot Dogs. Okay. Baseball hot dogs. 91 offensive line coach.
Baseball.
Oh, very progressive.
Wherever I go in this land, there's one thing that I hear. A song I hear them singing keeps ringing in my ears. It's all about the good things in this land of ours. The things we like, the things we do to while away the hours. We love baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and ice cold beer. Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and ice cold beer. Let's live together. Together. Peace and never let us stop. Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and ice cold beer.
Oh my gosh, that guy's having the time of his life. Also, I mean, he's already like, he's married to Mary Lou, so he's already getting the, you know, real crazy shit at home. Imagine what it's like out on the road.
Baseball, hot dogs.
Wow.
Each and every weekend when our work is done, forget your cares, forget your woes. It's time to have some fun. Let's all enjoy the good things in this land so fun. Pack up all your cares and woes. Let's all have a good time. We love baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and ice cold beer. Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and ice cold beer. Let's live together.
TV used to be so much better. Well,
Together.
I mean, some of it.
And never let it stop.
I mean, it's hard to argue against stuff like Breaking Bad and stuff like that. But there was some. TV was just much different back then.
Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and
Especially something like this where you have very little oversight from any kind of, you know, outside entities. So I think George was pretty much able to do whatever he wanted with the show within reason, and he's ultra conservative, so it's not like he was going to put a bunch of nudity on there or something.
cold beer.
Yeah, Better Call Saul. I'll find out if I can get on that public access show, and if I can get a time slot, I'll find out what that entails getting. But if we can bring a Boit show to real public access TV, then maybe we can be the light in the darkness that lights for the next people to be like, okay, if they did it, you know, if they can have this terrible content on a real TV show, then so can we.
That's the Tet Dragon Band, but stick around.
Imagine 10 minutes of Vinny Slugga's dad driving to McDonald's just on TV with no context, no further information whatsoever.
We'll be back with more of the big program right after this. And if you're shoveling,
Heavy
don't
metal
overdo
cunt.
it.
Filming a guy shoveling. Yeah, public access is still a thing. Like I said, I think about an hour from me, there's a public access station, but I don't know for sure the logistics of how you access it or what it all entails, but I'll find out.
Yo, Alf here. Apparently some chowderheads out there aren't taking
I feel like if it can be done, like, we need to do it.
care of this planet. They're messing up public lands.
It's not like we would
They're
last
littering
long
the beaches
anyway.
and vandalizing the parks. Look, folks, public lands are not like pizzas. You just can't pick up the phone and order more. So let's take care of our land. Let's save the planet. Call me and promise you'll help. I'll send you a bunch of neat stuff. It's my way of saying thanks. It's an acknowledgement of your concern. It's a bribe.
The Army National Guard. It's men and women trained to be their best, trained to protect our country and communities. Americans committed to the ideal of the citizen soldier. You'll find them in your neighborhood, teaching children, running businesses, raising families.
What a kid.
They're people like you and me.
What a weird
and they
guy.
will always be here, serving, just as the Army National Guard has been for over 350 years. The Army
These
National
scenarios
Guard,
are outlandish.
Americans at their best.
Welcome back to the big blizzard of 93. And what do you do in a snowstorm? Well, you can always go see a movie. So let's head over to Showcase Cinemas with our friend John Lowe and find out more about the movie
5
theater
minutes,
business.
about 6 minutes when he
Well, John,
starts.
welcome back to the program.
We are again.
And in the early days, where we left off last time, in the downtown theaters, they didn't send around movie posters for the motion picture companies. You used to build your own displays.
Yes, each theater in the days of the 40s and 30s had their own art shop. Like, we had a group of first-run theaters in Springfield, the Warner Capitol, that played Warner Brothers pictures, Lowe's Poli, that played Fox and MGM pictures. They alternated. The Paramount had Paramount Pictures, and the Bijou had Columbia Pictures.
So each theater specialized or had...
Well, they were owned.
Isn't that wild to think about? That, like, you could have all these theaters in your area, but each one of them only showed, like, one specific studio's movies. It's kind of... I'm not going to say it's the same thing, 'cause it's definitely not, but I do think that there's a lot of, like, smaller, especially independent theaters that want to carry, like, a Disney movie. I don't know if you guys know the... But, like, if you want a particular Disney movie, like, they make you lock in for, like, a bunch of other Disney movies, too. So it's kind of the same thing. A lot of independent theaters are, like, primarily Disney-driven, because if they want some of them, they have to take a bunch of them.
In those days, they were owned or had a partial owning interest in the various film.
93... trying to think of how MGM would have been doing all right in 93. The 80s, well, I would have wanted MGM for sure, because they had Canon. They distributed the Canon movies.
Companies. Paramount had an interest in
or most of them.
The Paramount Theater, and Warner's had the Capitol Theater. So as a result, these theaters had their own stage people, where they would pull a curtain between shows. They would fix the seats, they would do screen lights, they would do stage lights, and all the lights that were in the theater. And they would help build displays and signs. There was a sign shop in each of these theaters, and their job was to create advertising displays in-house. So that when you came into the theater, you saw this big lobby display of something that was coming next week. And in many cases, these displays were readapted and put out front as false fronts or put on the marquee as overhead cutouts. And each major city like Atlanta and Philadelphia across the country had their own sign shops. And every week, because they changed shows every week or every second week in those days, they had to create these lovely, fancy art displays that would knock your eye out as you were walking down Main Street by their theaters.
And unlike today, each one was unique. It was created by a different artist.
That's right. And they would send out pictures of the art, of the displays that they thought would be appropriate, or the type of display, or the style of display, or how big the star's name should be, or how big the director's name should be. And your...
No, you're fine, man. Isn't that wild? Like, they would send you pictures and be like, hey, this is what we want it to look like, but it's all on you. Like, you have to... That's just wild. That's so involved. Like, you had to have an art department if you ran a theater.
Sign shop adapted that. And then they would take
How
those
movies
same
have
pieces
changed.
of cutout, Upson board or masonite, and they'd turn them around and use the back of them and cut them up again. They were very thrifty in those days. And for that, they would spend probably anywhere from $250 to $500 on one of these displays, these lobby displays, or these false fronts. They called them false fronts. And this was a great art that sort of got passed by as the television came into the picture and they cut their economy things. They just went into what they call theatrical posters, which were made up en masse and printed up and sent to the theaters and put in a special frame outside.
And even the cardboard displays today are all mass-produced.
That's right. The cardboard displays are made now primarily because they're used in video stores too.
Oh,
ours are usually a little bigger, but they take the same thing and scale it down and make it for video stores too. And there's a couple thousand video stores as well as 25,000 theaters. So there's a lot of use on these.
Now, here at Showcase Cinemas, before the buildings were erected, there used to be a house here?
Well, this was a property owned by two nice ladies here in West
Yeah, and like each one of them unique. Like that'd be so cool.
Springfield.
That's one thing I do like about the libraries. A lot of them will have like they have to make their own displays because they're just running themes and like monthly things like action movies in July or Christmas movies in December or whatever, Christmas books or like a cookbook display, but like they have to do it all by hand. So like I always like to go through and look at like all the different like displays people have made.
And I used to come up and down this road to Western Mass Theaters, which was up on State Street. And I was very familiar with this area because we had the theaters here, not Redstone Theaters, but Goldstein. And I used to stop up at Shields' Donut Shop, here is Donut Dip Shop, all the time. And I can remember after I left Western Mass Theaters and went to work in Worcester for Showcase Cinemas, and we opened up the first theater in Worcester. It was so successful that they decided to build a theater in Springfield. And the location was in West Springfield. And I said, gee, I should know where that is on Riverdale Road. And I didn't. I knew where it should have been, because it was across the street from the drive-in, from the E.M. Lowe's, no relative, E.M. Lowe's drive-in.
It's not in the family.
Not in the family. I always say I'm the poor one. But anyway, there was some grapevines, very high vines along this road, and there was a little driveway. And you would go right by it and never...
So if the company sent out a $500 display or expected a $500 display, that means you got to sell 1,000 tickets just to pay for that. And that's at full retail. Like that's not even just like the profit from the tickets, but like you got to move 1,000 tickets to break even on just the display.
No, and beyond the driveway was...
I never see, and I've documented it extensively. I used to go and check the car count at the theater whenever I would pass by it because I always just like to see how movies are doing. Like I never see, even on like a Friday night, I hardly ever see more than like 5 or 6 cars in the parking lot.
It was this old 250-year-old house and 250-year-old trees, and it was a lovely ex-farm estate, you might call it. And I never knew it was here. All I can remember was Siepsel's gas station on the corner, his Amoco gas station, who was there, was there for years. I used to stop there for gas. And all that time, I never knew it was here. But anyway, there was a story about why this location was picked. And Eddie Redstone, who was Sumner Redstone's brother, who
Eddie Redstone
both had founded the company or joined, worked in the company, said the reason he picked this location was he was out looking with a real estate man in Springfield, in West Springfield, looking for locations of a theater, and he particularly wanted something on Riverdale Road, and he had just had a lunch and he had a headache because he had been seeing so many places, and he stopped for an aspirin at a drugstore.
He got a headache.
It was up the street here at the drugstore, and he slowed down to make the turn, and he saw this piece of property. And he said to the real estate man, what about that property? And they drove in you might call the entranceway, and they saw this lovely piece of property, which is hidden from the road, was hidden from the road at the time. And that was how he started investigating, and that's how he picked the location. No scientific surveys or anything else.
Like they do today.
Like they do today. Or demographics or anything else. And then that's how we wound up in West Springfield.
Oh, okay, here we go. So we got, oh, look at this shit. Army of Darkness. I saw that at the theater. Amazing. There was a witch in attendance at it too. Look at that. Loaded Weapon 1, Extreme Justice. Look at all these movies you could go to see. Homeward Bound, A Few Good Men, Groundhog Day, Summersby, Aladdin, and Unforgiven. Are you shitting me? Look at this. Oh my God. Amazing. What a lineup.
Which was one of our very successful theaters over the years. We've developed a nice relationship with the town and with the police department and with the city officials, and we hope we've been a good neighbor.
Now, originally, the cinemas were larger than we see today. Originally, it was 2 theaters.
Well, you see, in the days that after the war, the first group of new theaters that were built were.
So I didn't recognize Extreme Justice. It's a 1993 thriller starring Lou Diamond Phillips as a Los Angeles policeman who joins a vigilante unit with Scott Glenn, targeting and killing dangerous felons. Oh shit, directed by Mark L. Lester. It had a budget, are you ready for this, of $8 million.
Shopping center theaters. In other words, General Cinema pioneered a...
Also star Yaphet Kotto, Andrew Divoff, remember him? Ed Lauder, L. Scott Caldwell, I remember her. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Building
Extreme
a theater
Justice.
in a shopping center. There was an existing shopping center or a new shopping center, and they put a theater in it, figuring that the new people that had just built up new families coming back from the war. And
yeah, I don't really see any reason for me to go to the theater. Like, nothing's really like made me want to go. I think the last thing I saw was the last Jackass movie. I think that's the last time I was at a theater. I did get a free ticket to go to see gosh, it was a movie, was it maybe Robert Redford's last movie or something? It was like an older famous actor who was in this movie where I can't even remember anything about it, but anyway, they had it at our one of the local theaters here, and I got it, and it was put on for free by one of the local funeral homes. So it was me and like a bunch of 80-year-olds in the audience.
Had children and so forth. Would find
and you had to listen to a presentation
to go to a shopping center 2 or 3 times a week to do their shopping, not necessarily groceries, but just shopping, and find a theater there. And in theory, they were thinking of leaving the kids off and going doing shopping, picking the kids up afterwards. So they started these theaters and shopping centers, but very quickly they lose their identity in the shopping center. They become an anonymous piece of
Okay, so that movie was the one I saw with the funeral home people, was The Old Man and the Gun with Robert Redford
of the shopping mall. But anyway, we pioneered building theaters.
Yeah, and Jackass Forever was 2022.
Standing theaters, which is a theater.
3 years.
It's in an acreage area. We have 25 acres here, as big as a shopping center, but nothing in it but the theater. We originally started a series of twin theaters in Toledo, Louisville, Lawrence, West Springfield.
The building design was essentially the same.
The building design was exactly the same in all of these locations, and within 2 years we had built 4 of them. Springfield and Toledo were built almost simultaneously, and Toledo opened a week after Springfield in November of '63. 64. And it was a twin. One was 1,100 seats and the other was 700 seats. And it was a gigantic lobby, as we still have. They became very successful. They were luxury cinemas. That was what they were called. And they were a lot different than shopping center theaters, because we have special luxury reclining rocking chair lounge seats and things like that that made us different. We had to be different than the shopping center theater.
You had the large CinemaScope screens.
We had 70 millimeter 6-track stereo, and we had a Cinerama screen in each of these locations.
Cinerama.
Cinerama, as you know, was a ribbon screen made up of small, tiny vertical ribbons.
You know what? You know what? I think I went to a theater after Jackass Forever. They showed Wild Beasts, which is an old Italian horror movie about a bunch of LSD getting into the water supply at a zoo, and then all the animals go on like a rampage. I saw that at the theater.
Deep curve which give you a tremendous depth.
But that was a
sense of
movie from the
realism. You
80s,
can
I
sit
think.
down in the front rows and still find it enjoyable.
You needed special equipment for the Cinerama
Yes,
movies?
you needed special equipment, and of course you could show a film on a Cinerama screen, but you couldn't show it as big as it would be if you were showing a Cinerama picture. If you were showing a Cinerama picture, it was wall to wall, floor to ceiling. But you could, just like you could show a 16mm film on the wall here today, it would still show, but it would just fill up a small section of the screen. And the sound was tremendous. I can always remember in Lawrence of Arabia, one of the scenes where one of the British airplanes comes flying from behind the screen, supposedly, behind the booth, and goes right across over this. It sounds like it's right over your head and goes right behind the screen. Every time we show a true Cinerama picture with stereophonic sound, the audience would just eat it up. Space.
Isn't it? I mean, am I crazy to think like what a time it was when like the person who managed the theater, regardless of whatever else, like that gave a shit if it looked and sounded good? Like, isn't that crazy? Like you would, I can't imagine that's the case unless you go to like an Alamo Draft House or something like, or a historic theater. Like the idea that this guy who owns these multiplexes was like wanting to make sure they looked and sounded as good as possible. He's like, we're not going to stretch the picture of a non-Cinerama movie, even though it might look, you could pass it off or whatever. Like, it's interesting to me that he genuinely seems to care about the customer experience. That must have been a nice thing at the time.
Space Odyssey, 2001 Space Odyssey. We had an awful lot of trouble with the teenagers.
Oh yeah, I love
they
PM
wanted to go down and
Entertainment.
sit in the front row. And
We've watched a few of them on stream. We watched one of the Anna Nicole Smith ones. I remember we watched.
I wanted to lay in the front by the screen. That was in the days when we were first
Lawrence of
getting
Arabia in its entirety.
Woodstock people and things like that.
The desert.
Just the
Imagine
tremendous
the desert.
technical perfection we had in those days.
They
made a
knew
big
how to do
difference,
sand
and
back
that
then.
took us out of the league of
best
these
sand.
shopping center theaters, so to speak.
So the performance had to be perfect.
The performance,
Yes, for sure.
We had, when we played Lawrence of Arabia, we had engineers come from California.
I mean, as this guy brought up, aside from just giving us prices, has he focused really on money or profits at all in any of this, what has seemed like 19 hours of this interview?
And they ran that picture twice that night after 12 o'clock till 5 in the morning, balancing the sound, checking the projection equipment, checking the temperature of the light on the screen, checking the speakers, and so forth. And they did that on a lot of pictures. Lucas did that with Star Wars, and we did it with My Fair Lady, where they would send engineers around from the coast to see that the stuff was technically perfect.
Oh my gosh, man.
Now, which theater was the largest here?
Wow.
The larger theater was the existing now 3 and 4, right behind us. That was 1,100 seats. Then when we built Cinema 3, a few years later, we put a
1,100
D150 screen in there, and that was 1,000 seats also.
And what is D150?
Well, D150 was another, you might say, a technical name for 70 millimeter. It was put out by Todd A.O. people, actually, and it was just a widescreen with, again, the 6-track stereophonic sound. It was a combination of the widescreen and the wraparound. We call it the wraparound screen, which would curve from one end of your eye, you'd be seeing the screen, the other end.
I don't know. Maybe he'll talk about it later on. What I would like to hear about, and this would be like what I'm most interested in as far as if I were to ever own a theater, is like, how did he pick the movies? Because even back then, there were certainly more movies available than you could show. I mean, the 80s were like, and the 90s were booming times for those like mid-budget movies that they don't really make anymore. So I feel like he had a ton of choices. I'd love to know like his methodology. How was he booking the
sound
territory?
was, of course, all over the place. We had sound, sidewall speakers, rear speakers. We had even ceiling speakers in some theaters. Then later on, we had a thing called Sense-Around. You may have heard of that.
Sense-Around, wow.
You fell in through the floor, where it shook the floor.
That's right,
Where
Sense-Around.
movies like Earthquake.
Yes, Earthquake and
Roller Coaster.
Roller Coaster, Midway.
Oh, Roller Coaster.
That was, I think, of all. That was the only 3.
I got to write that down.
Universal
I've got to
did that.
rewatch
And,
that. I haven't seen that in forever.
The sound was so vibrating, you might call it. That was sort of seemed to be as just a vibrating sound. But it was only good for spectacular things, whereas a stereophonic sound, a musical like My Fair Lady, an adventure picture like Lawrence of Arabia, Star Wars picture, stereophonic sound, now Dolby stereophonic sound is here to stay, and everybody, about 80% of our pictures are in stereophonic sound now.
And are all of the
Don't let George hear that, because primetime is still in mono where available.
theaters in stereophonic sound?
No, 6 of the 10 are in stereo.
And one, I believe it's Cinema 6 today, has Matrix.
Yeah, Cinema 6 we still have 70 millimeter there. We showed Ghostbusters in 70 millimeter. We showed Hoffa.
Oh my God, Amel, I can't even I have to be honest though, like if I found out somewhere was playing Ghostbusters in 70 millimeter, I probably wouldn't go like super out of my way to go see it, or it'd probably be like crazy expensive, but whatever. But like, it's amazing to me just like what was like right there, and you kind of like never knew it, and then like you didn't realize how important the like stuff that you didn't know about at the time was, and now that it's gone, it's just like, fuck, like how do you ever get that back? How do you make people care? How do you make people care about movies again? Like, I don't know.
In 70 millimeter. We showed Alien and Alien 1 and Alien 2 and Alien 3 in 70 millimeter.
Can you show 70 millimeter in any of the other theaters?
No, but we can't show it unless you have a print, and the print has to be made by the film company for 70 millimeter. But we are the only house between here and Hartford that has 70 millimeter. We have our own house in Hartford has 70. We have a house in New Haven that has 70. Not all the new houses have 70.
Now, in the earlier days, you had live shows too. You used to run fashion shows and afternoon events.
We had a lot of interaction with women's clubs and PTAs and mothers clubs. They did a lot of fun.
I mean, can you put that back in the tube though? Because it used to be just your movie went to the box office, the people spoke, and that was it. Now, a lot of movies, whether it's framed that way or not, are pretty much guaranteed to be profitable because they're going to generate money for decades. You may not get a sequel or whatever, but like they're going to make money between like the streaming licenses and, you know, ads on the YouTube version and shit like that. I don't know. I don't know if it was true or not, but somebody said that some of the studios are going to start after the success of Minecraft, the Minecraft movie, are going to be aiming strictly to make movies like that have viral moments, like the chicken, whatever it is, the chicken cowboy or whatever that thing is.
Racing. They would take one of the pictures like My Fair Lady, and they would buy out the entire house or buy a block of tickets, 150 tickets, and they would resell these tickets to their friends at a little higher rate. And we gave them a discount, of course, for buying a group of tickets. And so they would make an average of $3 to $5 or $7 or $10 on each ticket. And they'd have a reception up in the upper mezzanine here, and they would have wine and cheese or also.
I think you're right when it comes to like reasonable people, but I think we've now just accepted, like, as a society, that like there's not really going to be a lot of any kind of real discourse about movies and art and stuff like that. It's all going to be like, well, 35% of the people are going to think that it's too woke, and 35% are going to say that it's like not woke enough, and like, you know what I mean? I just don't think there's like, I think if you put out a movie that was just a good movie, people would either just go completely against what their previously held things if they liked it on both sides. But then, I don't know. So, I mean, maybe you're right. If you could actually just make something like, I don't know. It just seems like everything is bad. Like, people complain about like GTA 6 has like a shirtless guy in the trailer, and they think that that's like gay coded because a guy is in like Miami with his shirt off. Like, I don't know if we could even like, if movies could even get like a fair shake anymore.
Parts of Danish things like.
But Baldur's Gate did. Baldur's Gate got a fair shake in the video game world. I mean, it's beyond woke, but people just overlook it because it's such a good game. Like, even people that would be mad about it don't really talk about it because they're not going to not play Baldur's Gate.
That, or buffets.
But
we
that's
had
probably
Hawaiian
pretty tough to
dances
do
here.
to
We
make
had an opening night
something
of Hawaii for American International
overwhelmingly
College. We
good
had
that people can't ignore.
Parades down in here. We had Hal Stanton and his little group did a fundraiser for the Great Gatsby. We had old antique cars parading up and down the streets, and we had a movie being filmed down here, supposedly with Hal with his silent movie cameras and everything, and the little
People are
stage.
simple.
These were always for the
I think
opening
movies
night
have just
premieres.
lost. I think movies
I
just
can
lost
remember
to
on My Fair
TikTok
Lady
and to
in
short
Worcester,
form
Webster Square,
and to YouTube.
which was a road show. I had the opening Wednesday night sold to a group, Thursday night sold to a group, Friday night sold to a group, Saturday afternoon was sold to a group, Saturday night sold to a group, Sunday afternoon and Sunday night was to the Heart Fund. So the first time you could actually have seen My Fair Lady was Monday, and the picture opened Wednesday. It was tremendous, the amount of group sales, theater parties we would have. On Sound of Music,
Well, lots of movies have like coding in them that, you know, contextual coding or whatever. I think that maybe the argument that would be made by people who were like anti-woke would be that like it's not obvious, that they don't see it as obvious in Night of the Living Dead, or they don't see it as obvious in, like, they don't feel like their faces are being rubbed in it. But in something like Baldur's Gate, clearly I mean, that's so, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't understand the motivation of it. I really don't care about any of that shit. Like, I'm going to watch and play anything that's good or anything that looks bad, anything, whatever. Like, I really don't care if the people, if it's like woke. I don't care if it's Kevin Sorbo preaching the Bible. Like, if I think it looks mildly entertaining, like, I'm going to watch it or play it. And I don't know, I don't understand the mentality behind like denying yourself a quality product or even just something to just to have fun and laugh at or whatever over something like that. That just seems like life denial.
which played a year. Here in Springfield, here in Worcester.
Like, I'm like, I can't imagine people who would be like upset about Morton Downey Jr.'s views on the show and like not watch the show, because I mean, like, it's an entertaining show. You don't have to agree with everything the guy says. So I don't know. I just like watching cool shit, and I don't really care about that kind of stuff.
As a road show, we had over 250 school groups to see that show. Morning shows. It was the biggest morning show group we've ever had in the business. Star Wars played over a year here. And Star Wars was not a road show. Star Wars was what we call a grind presentation, which meant it had a lot more performances. See, a road show was limited to 14 shows a week at the most.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Star Wars
What's up,
was
Vinny
grinding
Sluggan?
out, and we played Star Wars a year.
Star Wars.
Oh, for sure. Like, I remember there was like a big outrage about that that Madam Web movie, and like I watched it, and it was just like a funny bad movie. You know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine getting mad about that. I don't understand the outrage of it. If they changed the race or the whatever of a character that you like, it sucks, but like it doesn't change the source material. It doesn't. I would just honestly, it's why I don't do like real A-logging or whatever, is because I just rather watch something that I like versus like watch something and like be salty about it. You know what I mean? Like, the mentality doesn't make sense to me. I understand it if you're making money off of it on YouTube through like, you know, rage bait or whatever, but like I would just rather do something that I enjoy rather than like endure something that I don't like, you know, to make a point or or whatever.
Was played a little over a year in 77.
That was
I'll just watch
probably
Vinny
only
Slugga.
112 theaters in the country that played Star Wars a year, and we were one of them here in Springfield. Tremendous business. Jaws, Empire Strikes Back. These are some of our record-breaking pictures. Mary Poppins. Of course, they all do a certain amount of business in so many weeks. And then how long it stays after that is the test of how good a picture is.
Well, how long we can stay after this, we're out of time here again. Thanks for being here. We'll have you back again real soon. You stick around, stay close to the sets, because we'll be back with more Primetime right after this.
Well, I was gonna do it on Saturday, Vinny, but then you made some wild accusations against me. I'll put at least one of yours on Saturday. We might do like maybe we'll do back to back. Do your 2 Amazon calls as part of Boyd Watch on Saturday. Also, let's get this out of the way now, but I will be uploading videos next week, and I will do my best to do as much IRL as I can, but I won't be doing the morning shows next week. So I'll be doing the normal schedule I think I'll be here Saturday, but then I'll be off until like a week from that Monday. But like I said, I'll still be uploading clips and videos, and I'm going to try to do at least a few IRLs or a couple something. ATF Media knows every band and actor that pops up in me.
Remember to strap yourselves in with your safety belts. You don't want to end up like Eddie. Belt up. Don't be a dummy.
Welcome back to Prime Time. And you know, after you've been out here for a while in the cold, it's doesn't really feel that cold at all. It's almost like summer out here. And for all you kids watching television at home, and you're wondering how to be on television, what are the 3 most important rules? Well, first you have to relax. Second, you have to be yourself.
I will.
But most importantly,
if we're going to cut through the nonsense, Vinny, then we can do that. I'll plan on doing the next, I think I'm going to be here Saturday. If I'm here Saturday, I'll make sure to put the Amazon arc in the Boyd Watch video. But if I'm not, then I'll put it the next time I do a Boyd Watch. I'll put that in there.
Always try to smile pleasantly. And something else that's pleasant, yes, it's the Jimmy Stir Band with the Polonaise Dancers.
Remember, Vinny, when you called the Amazon lady and she was like, hello, how are you doing today? And you were like, frustrated.
Here to perform Wally's Polka.
Frustrated. Were you ordering a bunch of stuff, Vinny? What's up, Baker? ATF Media, there's literally, and I can't emphasize this enough, literally no one on YouTube who makes more real content than Vinny Slugga. Vinny Slugga's content is completely pure content. Like, there's no outside influence on it. There's nothing dressed up. It's just literally like real life. Vinny is like the most, grounded filmmaker on YouTube.
Yes, Jimmy Stir and the Jimmy Stir Band, 6 Grammys to be exact. And hey, that just about wraps up another show here, but there's always something to remember.
Well, I thought they said they were going to process the refund on the 13th. So can you get the refund on the 13th if you just wait? Or are they saying they're not going to give you anything until you give them the ID?
I made them laugh.
What happened to the... Why'd you want to send the tablet back anyway?
I made them think. Hey, good night, everybody.
Vinny's a big part of season 2 here at Fusion Studios. You didn't give him the ID while you were on recording, did you? You gave him the ID. Good, good. ATF Media, you do realize that, like, in the real world, people that I show, like, primetime to have the same reaction to it that you do to Vinny Slugga and Grace Thorpe. Like, I just think it's a... acquired taste. Okay, good. That's good then, Vinny. How are you today, sir? Frustrated. Oh my God, the movie guy's on the thing again. Can we please get a reflections? Wait, hold on. I have to have a preview here. Oh boy, the Doug Locke Show. Oh my God. The Grace Show.
Oh, what a nightmare.
There's been like literally 0 Goon content for this entire day today. Where's Jeannie Wasung when you need her?
From Bradley International Airport, the birthplace of midget wrestling, it's Prime Time with George Dorunda.
The birthplace
Tonight,
of midget wrestling.
Showcase Cinema's own John Lowe.
John Lowe's back again.
At Southwick Zoo. Plus, the entertainers. So get
Jimmy
ready for the
Stir.
most entertaining show on television.
Man, this is the greatest TV show of all time.
Hi, I'm George Dorunda, and welcome to Prime Time.
Are you kidding
what
me?
What a power-packed block.
Are you shitting me? Is he at an airport? I swear, guys, I swear. There's like some weird government helicopters within IRL distance of me. And I was going to go there and shoot outside the fence with my Alex Jones character at the helicopters. And of course, Dorunda's already did it. He's here at the airport.
Plus the kind of show we have for
fence.
you tonight on Prime Time, because in addition to all of our wonderful guests, we're here at Bradley International Airport. Well, for no particular other reason than to watch planes land and take off. What could be more entertaining? All this a bonus for you, the home viewers, And the cost to you? Nothing.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
most
on,
other shows,
man.
do you think they do this?
And Dorunda's got the at regular ticket prices, the Lance Russell. Ooh, we got 7 big matches. No increase in ticket price.
Nah, we could have done what most other shows would do. Send Doug out with a camera, get a shot of one plane, and then just run that same plane over and over again. But no, not us. We're here doing it, well, as close to live as we can get. And hey, have you ever wondered where the money from a movie ticket goes and how the money is distributed? Well, we're going to find out about that and much more over at Showcase Cinemas with our good friend John Lowe. Cy Becker, pay attention. Well, John, welcome back to Prime Time here, a regular
Welcome
fixture.
back.
Right.
And let's see, going back to
Dorunda's a
1964.
king. He's got his
at
own
Showcase
emote in the
Cinemas here,
chat.
used to have ticket outlets.
Yes.
Where people could purchase tickets via credit card or at major
part of the thing with the road shows was setting up ticket agencies. And we, of course, when playing exclusive runs,
George is my
we
hero.
set up ticket agencies in Greenfield,
Grace is the
Northampton,
goat
Westfield,
of YouTube. George is
Ware,
the goat of like
and we
TV.
would have originally we had music stores because we found that for some reason music stores like that they were trying to get the traffic brought into their.
Doug Locke is currently the VP of Broadcast Operations at Warner Brothers. Wow, he really moved
the
up
locations, and we would advertise them in, of course, the ads. And in those days, we
Frost
were
Nixon
advertising the
interview.
Greenfield paper and Northampton paper,
My Dinner with
Holyoke,
John
Pittsfield
Lowe.
paper, Brattleboro paper.
So people used to travel down here
They
from...
would go, oh yes, because this was the only place they could see these pictures for about a year.
We're gonna miss it when there's no more John Lowe. Just like with Mike Chuddy, we ribbed him, and then when Chuddy was gone, it was like, fuck, where's Chuddy? It's gonna be like, where's John Lowe when you need him?
Here, My Fair Lady, Dr. Zhivago, Gone with the Wind.
These are, like, legitimately to me, these are priceless interviews. They are an in-depth, honest, unbiased, inside look at what it was like to run a movie theater, you know, from the 60s to the 90s. Like, I think it's an impressive segment.
Ryan's Daughter, all the road shows. Very successful things, and they would play 16 or 18 weeks. Well, anyway,
well, this
we
really
decided
launched a
also
lot
to
of
try to work
careers.
with Sears.
Doug Locke,
so we had ticket agencies in the Sears stores. And you could, of course, pick up the phone, go to Sears, and get your tickets for even today's show.
Because the seating was reserved.
Yes, there was a blocks of seats that were reserved for what we call the agencies.
You know what? Isn't that life? Isn't that the entertainment business in general, like the worst make it to the top? Doug Locke was like easily the worst part of this show, except for maybe the guy that was like, what was he like? Remember the opera singer way back on like 5 or 6, I think? He was worse. I think Doug otherwise is the worst person on the show.
Agency then would call us and say, I have so-and-so tickets for today. And we would set those aside, and they would mail us the money, and you would come down and pick up the tickets. Also, we had American
He probably greenlit Christmas Vacation too.
Express and Master Charge tickets, which, by the way, they're just starting to go into now in the major cities again. They're going into situations where you'll be able to go into a theater and swipe your credit card on a special booth. You won't even have to go to the box house, and out will come some tickets. This is a new technology that they've been working on, and it started actually last November and October, and during the holidays they sold thousands of.
Well, Jake, he used to have a producer, what was his name, Mark Brelow or something like that, who was actually entertaining, and they had a fun storyline going. Like, you never see Doug Locke unless he's on screen. Like, you saw Mark all the time, like, behind the scenes. You'd see it from a different camera angle. He did all the close-ups during that big entertainers show and shit like that. So he was, like, pretty cool, and they started to do a little storyline where he was starting to take the spotlight away from George a little bit. And then for some reason, things just took, like, a sharp downward turn. And now we're stuck with Doug Locke.
Tickets that way in L.A. and New York, and they have some in Boston right now where they've done it in some of the first-run Boston houses. They've been very successful. So you can charge your ticket or call in whichever way is convenient.
While we're talking about ticket prices, how much of this money goes back to the motion picture companies, and how much does the theater retain?
Yes.
What is the percentage there?
Well, we very rarely have a chance to explain to people. Everybody thinks because we're charging $6.75 that we're making a lot of money. The film company is the one who feels just the opposite.
$6.75?
The film company says, we make the picture, we spend thousands of dollars now, actually millions of dollars, to advertise it on television, and they take from us usually an average of 70%.
Dude, this show is endless lore, especially if you watch it from the beginning, like George's behavior, like sometimes he'll like let his guard down and his real personality comes out. It's a really interesting show.
Of what
you haven't even seen Jeannie Was Sung yet. Oh my God.
Take in at the box office on every dollar. The film.
Man, remember in that was it a blue or a green dress? Oh, and the jugs were out. Wow.
Wasn't sold to us for $100 or $500 or $1,000. It's sold to us on a percentage.
I'm down bad for Jeannie Was Sung. We haven't seen her in forever.
It's been that way for a long time, but the only thing is the rental keeps going higher and higher and higher. The pictures, as far as the film company is concerned, are the...
Yeah, if you search for watching Primetime with George Dorunda, I don't think there's a playlist. I need to make one, but yeah, we started at episode 1 pretty much going in completely blind, honestly. Like, the only thing I knew is that he had interviewed at one time George the Animal Steele, and then we just watched it blind, and we've watched 53 episodes now, almost.
The reason they're coming to your theater. And although we say if you make a lousy picture, that's why no one comes to the theater. Well,
but I ruined it, remember, because I showed that montage of all the videos that I thought weren't on Primetime, but it just turned out they were on this season of Primetime. But I think there's a couple of those I remember that we haven't seen, so I think they do pop back up again, hopefully.
Afford to play lousy pictures, but they don't really set out to make lousy pictures. They set out to make pictures that have probably too limited appeal to certain people and not enough to a mass group of people in relation to what they spend.
There's probably where movies really got off the road, but how do you backpedal from that when it's like a legal... If your company's publicly traded, then you have like a legal obligation to maximize your profits. So you are going to probably go with mass appeal, or hopefully what you think is going to be mass appeal stuff. The problem with mass appeal is that by the time you get... If a movie takes 2 or 3 years to make and to come out, how are you going to get that movie out timely for mass appeal? You know what I mean?
For the picture.
Do they dictate what you should charge for a ticket price?
Not really.
No, I think he's out of gimmick. He interviewed Killer Kowalski too, I think in episode 3 maybe.
Everything is
a lot of wrestling references.
Very above board, very much surveyed and watched over by all sorts of people. You'll find that mostly the competition tells you what to charge. In other words, it's like a donut shop charging so much for a cup of coffee. If the guy down the street was charging 20 cents less, he would feel that
he does have a mortician. I thought he kind of like the guy from Phantasm too.
The film costs are getting tremendous. The average film now that's being made in Hollywood is costing around $20 million. And it's
so $20 million was about the average back then. That would be considered like a low-budget A24 movie now.
Costing around $6.
Meanwhile, Lifetime is out here making incredible psycho chick content for like 1.2 mil per, and just printing money.
To $8 million to advertise that picture. Now, there are pictures made more cheaply. There are pictures that made more expensively. Look at the last Toys was $40 million and did very poorly. Hoffa cost $40 million, did very poorly. The people really aren't concerned with how much the picture costs. It's how much it entertains them, or how much they find likable in it, or how much they think they're going to like before they go see it. The reviewers are playing a very important part in your wanting to see a picture. A picture like Crying Game, which we're playing now, was a small little Irish picture made for very little amount of money, about $8 million.
Untamed Heart and The Crying Game. Oh yeah, Hoffa. Shit.
And in the past few months, it's got such notoriety.
I'm gonna request all these from the
about
library.
Don't reveal the ending. And now it's got, of course, Academy Award nominations, and it's going to be a very big success.
Also, I found the Goose's the Geese headquarters in town. I need to go out there and do an IRL at the Goose, the main Goose compound.
So there is a difference in a picture like that and A Few Good Men, which was a $40 million picture, but the expenses on that were over $25 million just to pay the directors and the stars and everything else. So it's a tough business, and it's a tough business to be in it, in the theater part of it. We always get calls.
What do you think he thought about The Crying
Game? Like to build a theater.
He must like it. He seemed to kind of praise
how do they go about
praise it as a
getting the
profitable
pictures and
film.
things like that. And of course, it's like we're seeing now the demise of Sage Allen and all these stores. They can't stand the competition anymore, the competition of the big groups. You just have to have a tremendous amount of money to run competitive things like this now.
What do you attribute the success of your multiplex operation over here as opposed to the single theaters downtown? Is it the parking primarily?
No, I think yes, it is, and it's not. It's a group of things. The reason people come to multiplex theaters is there's a convenient choice. There's easy, ample parking in relation to a single house downtown. If you were playing a big picture downtown in a single house and that picture was sold out.
This might be the most chill segment in the history of all of my chill streams.
You would be stuck. You'd have to wait around 2 hours or come back another night. In a multiplex where you've got 10 or 12 or 14 or 16 screens, if something is sold out, there's always another picture that you could see tonight, not that you're seeing.
See, I mean, there's your shift, right? You have this shift from making movies, different people making movies for everybody. You know what I mean? But not everybody trying to make movies for everybody. But like over the course of like your lineup at this theater, there's bound to be a movie there you want to see that week, or or that weekend or whatever. Whereas now it's like all mass appeal, usually to one of two groups. So like I think you lose a lot in that. Instead of trying to figure out like how do we get everybody to the theater, let's just get the main, which I mean it's business, so I guess you want to get the people that will pay to see anything. Isn't that kind of how wrestling is now? Like I think Cornette always says that they're making more money than ever with like fewer people that actually like, care about wrestling, to like lower numbers.
Second choice, but it's just as good, and you go to see that one instead.
But you do have options.
You have options to see that. The multiplexes usually are bigger.
Look at that
They're
cool ass
better.
front, man.
We have complaints sometimes that the screens are kind of small in some of the houses, but they're all designed now differently so that they're designed for the size of the screen there is. So
why did you get into splitting the theaters?
Well, I think that this started, we didn't do it ourselves. Everybody did it. Everybody that built multiplexes. No one had any idea, I don't think, that these theaters would become so necessary. The film companies wanted to play here.
Yeah, I mean, first the movies get to where that's just like, off an assembly line to evoke a reaction. Now film criticism and video game criticism is the same way. It's even the criticism of the art is like so like assembly line watered down.
They would say to us that they can get more money out of showing a picture here, which is after all what they're in business for. I think it's a case where they gave the public what they wanted.
Cocaine King of Chicopee.
They're convenient to go to. There's always another picture to see. They're well run. They're clean. They're freshly kept up all the time. We spend a tremendous amount of money on maintenance here and upkeep. And I think they serve a much better purpose than that single house downtown. Of course, downtown in all of the big cities has had a tough time with the stores leaving and different elements there. And I think downtowns will come back in the future because there's...
Well, okay, so how about this for a movie? Somebody gave me this basic, this idea, a premise. It's not really, we haven't really fleshed anything out, but like, there was a story about an RV that crashed off of a cliff or a mountain or something, and there was a cat inside that survived. Why don't they make a movie that's completely from the cat's perspective, but they never tell you that it's from the cat's perspective? That's the kind of shit I want to go to the theater and see.
Too much of an investment in downtown to leave it sink any further. And
Passion Fish, I remember that movie, I think. No, I'm thinking of Rumble
some
Fish.
Theaters downtown and in some cities as the time goes on. Of course, the civic centers that have been put downtown serve as that entertainment part of it now downtown.
Mm-hmm. And Symphony Hall. And
yes, every city downtown now has a big civic center or so close by to it that it's still called downtown. It's just a changing way of life.
No
But
charisma, John Voight.
Want multiplexes. In fact, some of the
This guy, Cody Turbo, is becoming a stream hero.
multiplexes in California, at the new ones, and some in Belgium, there are 18 and 20 theaters in one multiplex, 2 and 3 stories of theaters.
Now here, speaking about the Civic Center, you were able to maintain the stadium staggered seating.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the splits.
Yes, well, we had to do that. See, that's what helps. The theaters are you're not sitting behind somebody. In the old days when we went to a theater years ago, if a big fella sat in front of you or a woman with a hat sat in front of you, you were...
I hosted a free public pop-up screening of The Passion of the Christ around Easter time one time. And the most of the audience was people from one church that came. And they got up and left whenever they found out that it was in the language that like Jesus spoke. They didn't like that. So like 3/4 of the people got up and left.
Trying to look between the hole of the other seat. We have our stadium type seating now are very severely sloped auditorium rows, so that you're actually sitting above the person that's in front of you. So that makes it much easier for a viewing of the screen. And all these things, of course, took up space. They took up seating space because we couldn't crowd as many seats in as you would, because they were all staggered. We also were deeper. We had to build the theater deeper into the front, as we explained and showed you. We were about 30 feet down in the front from the ground level.
From ground level. When you split the theaters, some are split lengthwise and some you split the width.
They found it, again, it's depending upon the shape of the theater that we're going to split. That is what determines whether you're going to split down the middle or crosswise. The bigger theaters usually are split crosswise now. In the new theaters that we're building, no matter whether we're building a 500-seat theater or a 100-seat theater in this particular complex, all the new ones are built so that the screen is from wall to wall, and the amount of seats are all good viewable seats. We have new theaters.
He's like Chuddy if they ran a Chuddy every episode at like twice the length. He had a 17-minute interview in episode 51.
There's in Berlin, Connecticut. We have a new theater in Revere.
Berlin, Connecticut.
A couple of new theaters going into Connecticut, one in Bridgeport that's being built, and a few others.
With the advancements of HD TV, high-definition television, and better pictures being able to be put into your home, do you foresee, and also some of these smaller movie companies are folding, one bad picture could kill a smaller movie company. Do you foresee the day when better pictures will be made and you'll be taking down the walls and going back to the large screens again?
No, I think the next technical advance will be the advancement of satellite film. In other words, the film will be delivered to us via satellite, so that there will be no booth as we know it today, no projectionist as we know it today. There'll be an engineer perhaps for the whole complex.
He got it.
saving in print costs. Right now, the average picture that is released, a picture like Aladdin, comes out with 22 or 2,500 prints at $1,000 or $1,400 a print. And in 4 weeks or 5 weeks' time, those prints are not needed anymore. Everyone wants to see the pictures brand new, and they want to see them first. As a result of the tremendous amount of money they have to spend to advertise a picture on television, national television, makes it necessary for them to make more prints so they can get more play dates. With satellite, obviously, they would not need but a handful of prints, and that would give you a picture just as good as what you're seeing now if it's technically able to be done. And that will come with high definition TV.
Right. I haven't seen it yet. Quite as good as film,
it's a long ways. It's a long ways away. It's 15 years away, actually.
It's
before
just as good on the screen.
Completely adaptable to what we would need it for. But in the meantime, the sound systems are getting tremendously better. We're starting to put in a lot of Dolby stereo all over in every one of our theaters. We're trying to get that down, and there's two new sound systems that are coming that are going to be even.
I went to the art house theater here. Well, it's okay, not art house, like independent theater here, and they were showing Yellow Submarine, and I thought, well, that's kind of interesting to see that at a theater. All they did was just show it on a fucking like DVD or Blu-ray. You could see the menu up on the screen. I was like, is that even like legal?
More elaborate, and I think you'll find that they'll be back into more road shows and more 70mm pictures as the time goes along. They would like to make more big event pictures, and they call them event pictures, pictures that you can see only in big theaters, only for a limited engagement, and then go back out. In other words, we need a lot more Gone with the Winds and Dr. Zhivago's and My Fair Ladies, I think, to get.
Well, since Star Wars, I don't think you've had a movie here for over a year.
Oh, no. But you see, now we've been doing a lot of different things.
Keeping a movie on for a year? Can you imagine?
Well, we play the picture in 2 theaters. That is something that, you see, we are not doing these things ourselves. This is the film companies and the big exhibitors that own tremendous chains have decided now the way to do it is to run the print, or to get 2 prints of one picture. We have a picture coming tomorrow, the Robert Duvall picture and Michael Douglas picture, that will be playing in 2 theaters at the same time. Well, now, when you play a picture in 2 theaters at the same time,
like, I don't have anything against HD or 4K, but like you have to have somebody, like, people that know what they're doing when they transfer it and when they restore it, and that they don't just use AI to. There's already like literally 4K discs that have like AI shit on them that if you like zoom in, it's completely changed the movie. So I get, it just depends whether you get like a nice restoration. It's digital isn't the problem. It's that, like he said, you don't have a projectionist anymore. You don't have someone there who understands, like, okay, this is what not just what a movie should look like. This is what this movie should look like. This movie should have, like, that the prints would come with notes sometimes of being like, the colors need to be warm in this, or, whatever. Like, they would send, instructions on how to do it. Once you move past that idea that the picture, that you don't need someone there to make sure it looks good, it's just kind of like a pretty slippery slope.
You use up twice the amount of seats in 1 week. So therefore you're getting the equivalent of 2 weeks run in 1 week.
And hopefully it's a sellout.
Yeah.
Well, or that whenever they're restoring them, they don't understand that, like, sometimes you're not supposed to be able to see. That, like, it's okay to have, like, solid black shadows. So they'll, like, lighten up the image, like, way too much. And even if you, like, correct it, since it's coming off of a different contrast baseline, you can't, like, really make it blend in naturally without fucking up the rest of the picture.
Exactly. So we've been doing that a lot. We did that a lot at Christmas time, running 2 prints into 2 screens.
Well, this has been very interesting, and we've sold out on time once again. Thanks for being here, and stick around. We'll be back with more of the big program right after this.
George's music.
Wildlife rabies is now a threat in Massachusetts. Avoid contact with wild animals. Let wild things be wild. Pets can also become infected and
Let
bring
wild
this
girls
deadly
be
disease
wild.
into your home.
Keep
By
methadone
vaccinating your
free
cats and
range.
dogs, you protect yourself and your family. Vaccinations against rabies are available through your veterinarian. For more information on rabies, contact your local health department or veterinarian. Rabies is a risk no one needs to take.
Let's get George to weigh in on this. Oh boy. Interesting. Airport content. God damn it, George. I can't do
Yes,
anything.
welcome back to the big program. We're here at Bradley Field. We're watching airplanes take off and land. And kids, for those of you watching at home, if someday you'd like to get your own TV show, you know, all you kids also watching who attend these local colleges and fine universities of the area.
Feral trads.
Let me give you a little tip. Now, when I usually announce something, and when you hear people announce something like, Jimmy Stir! No, that's not being overkill. That's not being sing-songy. That's what is known in the industry as heating up the name, heating up the syllables. That's known
Let's
also
heat
as
up the syllables, guys.
showmanship. And kids, you go ahead and use it. That's just for you. That's a gift from me to you. And
Thank you, George.
Marsha? Marsha? No. Oh, I thought I saw somebody in there that I knew.
See, George knows that these are important lessons to put forward. You got to jazz it up. You've got to put some showmanship into it.
Anyway, here I am with my very own entertainers.
Heat up the syllables.
Performing Sweet Caroline.
Now remember, he said you've really got to put a lot into your showmanship. Finally, some music. Oh.
I can begin to know it, but then I know it's going strong.
Hey, it's me.
Was in the spring, then spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me,
Man, buckle up.
touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined
Neil Diamond's about to puke.
to be loved and never would, but now
This video is definitely blocked in like 12 territories now off of that Sweet Caroline music. Oh, great freeze frame on George.
look at the lights, and it don't seem so lonely.
Yeah, this is George's band, The Entertainers. What's up, Steven?
Only two. And when it hurts, hurting runs off my shoulder.
If you start paying attention to George's clothes, he basically wears his own band's t-shirt or sweater in like a bunch of the episodes now.
How could I hurt when I'm holding you?
Absolutely poured in.
Touching one,
Those people are like, you know what? For free in the park? This ain't bad.
reaching out, touching me, touching you.
Here we go.
Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would, but
Just taking a nap. Oh man, we needed this. We needed this music. We need some non-polka, no offense.
sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good.
I feel like the Tin Man when they put the oil in him. I'm ready. I'm rejuvenated. You know what? Are we being manipulated by George Dorunda? Do you think he put these incredibly, 4 episodes of incredibly drawn out? I love the segments. I'm not saying they're bad, but they're very low energy. They're very drawn out. And then you put it with like polka, okay, whatever. But then like George is essentially giving himself the hot tag by giving us this upbeat, life-affirming experience. Mini comb-overs. Four straight John Lowe episodes. Look at these people. George.
We have to pause here, but we will return. Do not be frightened.
Do not be frightened. No way. God. Come on, man. I was just telling you guys how they had to have the weird government helicopters close to me, and now George has literally got him on his fucking show. Come on, brother. They don't make white people like this anymore.
Thousands of forest fires are started by people who never realize what they've done.
No! Grace is like...
never even set foot in the forest.
I'm in Illinois.
Yes, welcome back.
When I saw him, this was literally what my background was going to be, except those military helicopters are in the background, like behind where he would be here. But he not only went to the airport and filmed, but he got the government helicopter footage.
Back to the big program. We're here at Bradley Field.
Look at Doug.
And we're watching airplanes take off and land. Hey, it's so exciting. I can just feel the electricity. Doug can feel the electricity. He was tangling with the electric fence earlier. But hey, let's have some more excitement. We're heading out to Southwick Zoo with our good friend, Tina.
Oh, here we go.
Now this guy looks like a little junior-size harmless porcupine.
No, he's a hedgehog, and his name is Spike.
Spike.
He won't get any bigger than this. He's about...
He's full grown.
Yeah, he's 3 years old. And these are not quills, they're hair.
They look like quills.
But they're hair.
They are a little
It's because
pointy.
he's got ear sockets.
And
when he
George
rolls
is
up into a little
arguing
ball,
with the zoologist.
they stick up, and the ear makes them pointy and sharp. So his enemies won't want to take a bite out of him. And that's his special mechanism, actually. When he's scared, he'll roll up into a little ball.
George has got his entertainer shirt on of his own band. I remember, absolutely poured into that shirt. What a quote from South to West. She totally shoved that hedgehog in her box. All right.
And then you can't get his underside, which is really soft
So
and furry.
he really looks like a harmless little
You mean with
fuzzball.
those quill-like hairs?
And he eats dog food.
So he is a meat eater.
Yes, and he sleeps all day, and he's up all night.
And this is as big as he gets. And,
Yeah.
and how old will he get to be?
George's like, sounds like my next
I
door
really don't
neighbor.
know that, but he's 3 now, and he should live a really long time, actually.
And is there any connection between him and a porcupine?
No, no connection at all.
No connection at all. Not even the same family.
Nope. His other relatives, Egyptian hedgehogs and stuff, are 10 times his size. They're huge.
10
This is the smallest
times the
hedgehog you'll
size?
find.
Different
Can we see
varieties of
these?
Hedgehogs, yeah.
And which variety is he?
It's a European, I
Oh
think.
my
European
God! Can you
hedgehog.
imagine?
He smells every...
Oh my God! Like a Snorlax-sized hedgehog? That can't be real, can it? Is she making that shit up?
Everybody else, like the snake and the iguana and
She
stuff.
fingered what?
Do these
I
animals
don't
get
think
along
she
with
has
each other?
any.
No, I doubt it.
sexual feelings.
Ah,
She
that's
seems
the
pretty,
reason when
like,
he smells these other varieties.
oblivious to life.
Okay, and these guys are...
European ferrets. This is Maddie, and this is Cody.
Do they bite?
No.
Excuse
they're
me, where are
harmless.
the American
And
ferrets?
what family are they from?
Ferret, mongoose, I believe.
The mongoose.
Or, yeah, ferrets, mongoose.
And what do they eat?
Well, cat
No one at this zoo wants to talk to George Dorunda except for the main zookeeper lady.
food right now. They eat meat. In the wild, they would eat prairie dogs.
Oh.
She's regular colored.
And what makes this regular colored and this the new
Yes,
improved
trad
color?
girl
And
zoologist.
he's albino. He had no pigmentation when he was born. So in the
Okay, is this a simulation thing? The last time we saw a zoo interview, George was covering albinism, and they were talking about it with the tiger, remember? Is every amount of animals brought out, is one of them going to be an albino? That's kind of weird to me.
wild, he would die because he can't hide from his prey.
It's very disturbing. But I am smoking
this is a
elephant
rarity.
trunk, so.
Yes. Their special feature is their backbone. They can just bend it like this.
I
and
could
it does
get her
not
to
bother
open
them.
up
So there is no
ATF.
backbone? Or
Well, there is, but
is
it's
it
very
just
flexible. so-
Totally flexible.
Yeah, she could
My
just
laid
squeeze
back
in and out like
interview
that.
style
Through
would
the
get,
prairie
would
dog
get the
holes when they go in.
information.
We had black-footed ferrets here in America, but they're dying out because the farmers were
They love to
poisoning
collect
them.
albinos.
They're illegal in Massachusetts to own, but you can own them in all the surrounding states.
Or
Is that
if
why
you
we
have a
haven't heard
wonderful
from
zoo like
EFD
here in
for a
Salt
while?
Lake.
Like here at Suffolk, you can come and see them, yeah.
An entire
Our
albino
friends,
zoo?
the ferrets.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show again for tonight. It was great as always, wasn't it? And we're going to have another one real soon. Hey, good night, everybody.
What? Man, I can't believe I got beat to the airport. I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve, though. Maybe I can outsmart George before the end of the show. Ken Kostek. It kind of sucked, honestly. I had to get 9 shots of the anesthesia. Oh man, it sucked. I did look it up after, and like I got like even more high after the stream to like calm my nerves before going in, and like that was probably not the best decision. I did look it up, and it says that it can, for some people, like require you to have more anesthesia, like more whatever. Yep. I couldn't, but at least when they got done with it though, like after they got the last like round of shots in, like that was it. I mean, I was complete. I couldn't feel anything. And then I had to go while I was like completely like face paralyzed. I had to go to the library and to Kroger and shit. Yeah, I've called pretty much all the numbers. Some of them are still active. I don't call the ones associated with George because he doesn't respond to me in the comments, so I don't want to like pester him on the phone and have him be like think I'm like an unstable person. I haven't been in a while, but I haven't really had any issues. But I had a couple things that I thought were going to be like really bad, but I just had to get 2 crowns, which isn't, it sucks having them done. But like once they're done, they're good for quite a while. And then when I get these done, I got to get 2 fillings, and then that's it. I'm thinking about going and collabing with Bethadone and seeing if she'll give me some tooth jewels. All right, I think we can watch at least one more. There they are, Reflection. Hold on, let's see what the rest of them were. What's happening here? Give me those 2 seconds back. Okay, Dana Rogers, Southwick Zoo. Yes. Oh, Reflections. Man, it better be a Genie was sung, or I'm going to be really mad.
From Springfield Technical Community College, free hot buffet right.
I thought this was kind of interesting too. Whenever I was like waiting at the dentist, they have like the little TVs for you to watch, and basically it was just like, you know, royalty-free music playing over like IRL. Like somebody just did IRL and sold it to this company, or they work for that company. But it was just like a guy walking around at like a street fair for a few minutes at a time in like different places, and then they just put generic music over it, and that's what played pretty much like the entire time.
After the show, it's Prime Time with George Dorunda.
Well,
Tonight,
she has big talent. She doesn't have big
WWBA
tits.
player Dana Rogers, more animals at Southwick Zoo, plus Reflection
But they're
and the Jimmy
fantastic.
Stir Band. So get ready for the most entertaining show on television.
Some of the people in chat don't like to talk about this, Jake Steele, but one time George did harass a woman that I think was grooming a goat. What was she doing? She was shearing a sheep. Is that what she was doing? And George, that was like maybe one of the most awkward George interviews. The clown interview, I think, is the most awkward George interview, though.
Hi, I'm George Dorunda, and welcome to Prime Time. And what a show we have for you here tonight. We're here at Springfield Technical Community College, or STIC, as we call it in the industry. And you know, Bill Clinton, just this morning,
Community
announced
college
that
tour?
he is not going to let partisan politics, he will not allow partisan politics, not at all, to interfere with the running of his administration and his economic policies. What this really means is he's willing to now date Republicans. Well, anyway, we also, as a bonus to you, the home viewers, we have Doug Locke, our primetime correspondent for today. He's down at Bradley International Airport, and I guess he's going to be talking to some people on there. He's waiting for the Pope to arrive. And, well, let's see if we can check into him. Doug, can you hear me, Doug? Doug, Doug, can you hear me? Doug, are you there? Doug! Well, obviously there's a problem with our satellite feed. So let's move on with the program. We'll check back in with Doug a little later. Here is Reflection to perform Hungry Eyes.
No, it's the guy. Isn't the guy sing this one? The shit guy? No! It's the monkey paw. You can have Reflection, but it's a Janik singing. Look at that seductress. She's there. She's just not singing. Well, she's not lead. The Miss Elizabeth of Chicopee. It's outlandish, man. Don't forget this guy and his hair. Oh, what a humor. American Treasure. Oh, Jeannie. Jeannie. Man, what a performance. She won't take the jacket off unless she's being featured. She's not going to give it away. I'm a regular Janik. I consider myself an unofficial Janik. A-cuppers denied.
Yes, that was Reflection and Hungry
Thanks,
Thighs.
Steve.
I mean Hungry Eyes. And I was right. Should never let the guests play
Jacket
with
isn't
the Christmas
free.
decorations or garland before they perform. And
Hungry
anyway,
Thighs?
let's
Ooh,
check back in
man,
with
I
Doug.
bet she
Doug,
does.
are you there? Can you hear me, Doug? Well, we have a problem with our satellite feed, or maybe we have a problem with Doug. Maybe Doug should stay off the Crystal Pepsi.
I should start a band? I don't know about that.
And we'll be right back.
I wouldn't get a. I don't even know who would be in it. I literally, like, it's so hard to find anybody in real life that wants to do anything at all, like, that's creative or whatever. Like, I could never put a band together. I'd end up having to play in some, like, one of those bands where, like, everybody wears, like, jeans and or like overalls, and they like roll the cuffs up, and then they drink like craft beer or something.
After we get Doug some oxygen.
What was that? Bethadone. Well, I mean that, of course. That'd be fantastic.
But he can't do it alone.
And Grace, I don't know. That could be, it could be a problem to get all three of those ladies wrangled and in the same place at the same time and in a good mood.
Please don't play with matches. Put out your campfires. And never ever forget the words of
Yeah, I
Slinky
agree.
Bear.
I miss Mark, the
prevent
producer.
forest fires.
You know what the difference to me is, the real difference between Mark and Doug is that Mark was about the show. Doug is about how can he get himself over. If you notice, he's hardly in any of the storylines. He's just always hamming it up, you know, in the bumpers or something. Mark was like actively engaged, not only in making the show technically better, but like he always seemed like he was working with George. I never get that feeling from Doug that they're like working together. That's my take on it.
Welcome back to the big program, and well, hey, before we go on, let's check with Doug. Doug, are you there? No, Doug. Doug, can you hear me? Punch that back up there. It's nights like this that make me wish I was being paid by the decibel. But hey, my next guest is a professional basketball player with the WWBA. It's a pleasure to welcome to primetime.
Did that guy
Dana
just pull in
Rogers.
right next to him? Wow, how inconvenient.
Welcome to primetime.
Thank you.
It's great to have you
That was
here.
great.
And tell us a little bit about your career.
George, this is amazing. So George has like an old school women's professional basketball player.
Going into the WWF, no, that's the other organization.
WWF.
WWBA.
Uh-huh.
And how long has this organization been around?
It's only been around as of January. It's just newly organized. And hoping to get organized and off the ground. Something they've wanted to do for a long time. There's never been an opportunity for women to play pro ball in the United States. They'd have to go overseas out of college to play ball after.
I'm just going to put this out there. It's just my personal opinion. I think Doug is the reason that they took all the Looney Tunes off of the Max app. That's just that's my personal belief,
Their college
which I'm
career.
entitled to.
So this is just an
Doug.
opportunity for women to play in the United States rather than having to go overseas.
So this is the first pro league for women in the country?
No, they tried a league 4 to 5 years ago, and it failed mainly because they ran it during the regular season.
So this was a month in?
And pro ball for men and women. And it was very hard to compete for fans and crowd support.
Listen to the
with
music.
all
It
the
sounds
other
like
games
Ruby's
going
old
on.
music she used to play in the background.
Plus, they were paying the players incredible salaries, and they couldn't keep up
relaxing
with
that
the
music is.
financial aspects of it, so they had to fold. So they're going about it this time with a whole different frame of mind.
I'll be
they're not.
I'll be labeled a misogynist for listening to the background music during the WWBA segment.
Signing $1.2 million contracts, and we're running it in the off season, April through August, just hoping to get it going.
Don't you feel that some of the salaries that these players are making are a little bit excessive?
Man, imagine what George thinks about it. I don't know, that's kind of interesting. George having an issue with how much somebody's making is kind of interesting to me. Given, well, I don't know. I mean, we don't really know. We have bits and pieces of his worldview, I guess.
I think they're extremely excessive, and it only creates greed, I think, and a lot of problems. I mean, you read a lot about players after their careers. They're either in major debt or they've got drug problems because they don't know how to spend all their money.
Yeah, too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
Now tell us about your career. How did you get involved in basketball?
Well, I started playing basketball when I was knee-high to the ground, as the saying goes.
What age was that?
I was about 4 or 5. I remember my family was
4 or 5,
always...
some kids aren't even walking at 4 or 5.
Well, I remember watching the pro games on TV. Those guys were my idols, and I'd go out in the driveway when my dad had set up a basketball hoop, and I would try to imitate him. And my dad and his friend would just sit there and laugh at me because it was pretty hilarious. I mean, it was all I could do to throw the ball up with 2 hands. But as the years went on, I was finally able to throw the ball and make the basket. So
there we go.
Then I played organized basketball as a 7th
Look at this
grade.
lady on
had
fire.
some great coaching.
Ooh,
learned all
from
the
way out there.
fundamentals.
Look at her top. Nailed it.
That was in a little small town in the Panhandle of
What a
Oklahoma,
badass.
Guyman. And then I went on to junior college where I played in Neosho, Missouri, Crowder College. We were ranked
original
in the top
Caitlin
3
Clark.
all season long. Very good team, very good coach here too. And from there I went to the Olympic Training Center after my freshman year at college and was invited to try out for the Pan American team. And I was only 19 and it was really hard for me because I was still really inexperienced at the collegiate level. So it was a good experience going to Olympic Training Center. And And then from there I went to Oklahoma
Local
State
police cruiser?
after
That'd be awesome.
a couple of knee operations. And
I do like it always, my favorite moment like that where like it's something unexpected happens, like the car pulling up but something that's like low key, not like something crazy, is whenever Jimmy was doing a rant inside of his car and then he turned the camera over and there was someone outside of his car filming him. I always think that's like such a great reveal. It's like a reminder that like, you know, I'm high when I watch these, so keep that in mind. But it's like, oh yeah, Jimmy's out he's out in the world, like, and somebody's filming him in his car.
And,
So you have had some injuries along the way?
yeah, I have. I've had 3 knee operations.
A beehive.
A major ankle problem, which I got it straightened out. I've had my wrist fractured. Combination of 2 different falls. One was from rollerblading, and as it was healing, I fell walking out of work on the snow. So
Shut down George
twice,
Dorunda.
but I'm healthy now.
So you're ready for that championship season?
I definitely am. I can't wait. I'm really excited about it.
Who won the 1993
how does this league differ from
WWA
other women's
championships?
leagues, like women's leagues in college?
I think people are going to find that the style of play is going to be a lot more aggressive, and a lot more quick pace. It's going to have a quicker pace.
Is it as upbeat as the NBA?
To be honest, I think the NBA, it didn't really interest me that much because I feel like after
You wouldn't go out on a date with her, Robot Glock? You wouldn't give her a shot?
they play umpteen hundred games every year, that it's hard for them to keep their intensity level up. Whereas in college, I think the intensity level is there because every single game counts. Whereas in the pros, they play so many games, it's hard to give 110% for each and every game. So I think that people are going to find the women's pro game is going to be very...
You'd be curious too and want to capture the moment. I probably would be, but it's just in the moment, like he's going for a long time. Like he goes for like, I don't know, at least 5-10 minutes before revealing it. And then he's like, "And this motherfucker," and he turns it to him and there's just this guy out there filming him. He's like, "Stop filming me." It's like amazing.
Very fast pace, or wanting us to average 130 points a game. It's going to be a lot of running. And from the tryouts, I can see that it's going to be very demanding. You have to be in very good physical condition to play.
But what do you do for training on a regular basis?
Well, I play a lot of hoop, of course, and I come upstairs and I do about an hour on the Stairmaster. I run.
Do you take the savvy guy approach? You don't care if she thinks you're a good person or if she respects you. You're just trying to get your face between some buns.
Anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes on the treadmill. Try to average 7 to 8 minute miles when I run. And I usually run 3 to 4 miles 5 days a week. Then I cycle extensively. Try to do 15.
I'll try to stay alive for another 30 years so we can do a 60th anniversary edition of Primetime Watch Through.
15 miles or so every other day on the bike. And do some weightlifting, not a lot. Probably should do more, but I don't really enjoy it that much. So other than that, that helps me keep in shape because I usually end up working up here for an hour and a half, 2 hours and playing ball as well. So you got to get ready for this.
So you're definitely in shape, and we have some local figures around here.
We can find out
certain
whatever
male
happened to the
participants of the
WWBA.
game,
Oh,
and
no.
they said they'd never be taken by a woman.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, boy.
So could we issue a challenge? Look right into the camera.
Well, if...
Are we taking on all comers?
Taking on all comers.
Name your stakes.
Then I can criticize myself also.
Well, as far as what? Money?
As far as money, right?
Well, if they feel like they can take me on, let's go to it.
Confidence, that's what I like, confidence. Is there more physical contact in this game as opposed to a college level game?
Definitely, I think. It's a lot, from the tryouts I could see that it was a lot more physical aggression in the college game, but nowadays they're getting it very rough in college as well. It's getting to be where there's no holds barred. It's very intense.
That's what I was wondering.
Now when you were growing up, when you were knee high to a grasshopper, in those early stages, did you ever think you'd be doing it professionally?
It was always a dream of mine to reach that level, but there was never the opportunity for women, and I was a little puzzled by that. It seemed like men had the way pay for them, and women have to really work to get to that level.
Dana, you
I'd say
are the
my
pioneer
number one
girl.
goal in life
You're paving
as I
the
was
way.
growing up was to be a
Let's
member
be honest.
of the Olympic team.
If it wasn't for whoever this person is, I don't remember her name. If it wasn't for her, though, there would be no Caitlin Collins. This woman was a pioneer, a trailblazer, and yet no one's telling the story of the WWBA except for George Dorunda.
To play for my country. That was my number one goal and dream. And who knows, it can come true. I mean, if this league is successful and I do well, then there may be an opportunity to try out for the next Olympic team.
How long do you see yourself doing this?
I hope for at least 4 years, 3 to 4 years. And I want to stay involved with the WWBA to help them expand and grow. I'm in sales and marketing, so I'd like to help them out. You know,
So after your playing career, you could move into the front office?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do. Either that or be a scout. And currently...
Would she have to actually get up and put it in his face, or could she just put one leg up on the table and aim it at him?
I do some work on the side with the youth. I give lessons one-to-one, teach them a proper...
Well, I think that's what happened to this woman, too. She was like such a big-time star, everybody else really hated on her, so the whole league collapsed. Oh, look at George out here, looking like Gru.
Way to shoot the ball, teach them some fundamentals, ball handling drills, dribbling drills, just things to improve their game. A lot of parents feel like their kids are talented, but they don't.
Oh, also, for anybody that's new, George is 35 here, according to what he said in previous episodes.
Really have someone to work closely with them, so I do that on the side. I really enjoy it too. Very rewarding.
When I was here the other night watching you play, I believe you were the only female on the court. How do the other men on the team react to you?
Really?
The ones you're playing
Ruby garbage?
with and the ones you're playing against.
I think they like it. At first, I think they were very skeptical.
Remember yesterday when Dr. Death said that you should sweep up all the other guests with a bulldozer and throw them in the garbage?
They were afraid to be aggressive. They didn't want to hurt me, per se. Once they found out that I could shoot and that I
How tall is she?
was aggressive, then I would play. And in fact, sometimes too aggressive, that they just
He does look
it
kind of
didn't
look like
bother them
BTK.
anymore. And now they just treat me as one of the guys.
He needs some
And,
glasses.
I really have a good time out there, and they're really nice guys to play ball with. I mean, not all the times, but most of the time they're very accommodating. And believe me, there's been some times when I've ate my share of balls when they block my shots, but I don't mind that. You know, I just kind of take it in stride because
It's part of the game.
VP is, I think, 6 feet tall. Grace is 5'10". Pearly Things is 5'11". And then Bethadone is 5'3".
it's part of the game, and I learned from
Bethadone is the berserker of my Viking Marauder tribe.
it. And I learned that I need to fake a little more. There's something I didn't do with my technique quite right that they blocked my shot.
6'1",
so the next
wow,
time I go down the
nice.
court, it helps me improve.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I love the idea of him, and I get that, like, it's part of that is the real him, but he was definitely, loving, like, he was definitely amplifying his personality a little bit. But I love the idea of characters interacting with people and, like, with real people in real life situations. I just think that's really entertaining.
What would you want to say to all the young kids just starting out?
Follow your dreams and don't give up, because who knows, if you keep dreaming, someday they could come true.
Like your dream has come true.
That's right.
Well, Dana, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, and you're welcome back anytime. And stick around, we'll be back with more of the big program right after this. Don't go away.
Yes, dual-wielding Viking maidens is definitely in my wheelhouse. VP would definitely captain the longship.
If this doesn't scare you, just wait.
AIDS. That's what my dad said when we went to see Forrest Gump and Ginny tells Forrest that she's sick. My dad said, like, everyone was like real quiet and like it was kind of like an emotional moment in the movie. And Ginny's like, "I'm sick, Forrest." And my dad's like, he leaned over to whisper, but he was like, you know how dads are. They don't know the volume of their voice. He's like, "AIDS," really loud in the theater.
The doctor will see you now. One night a year ago, Vanessa got high with some guy and forgot everything she learned about preventing AIDS. Now her life is the horror show. AIDS. Another way drugs can kill.
Man, Genie's song.
Yes, welcome back to the big program. And I don't know if any of you have heard, but Chad, Matthews, Nightwig, all three of them, well, they've quit doing the show New Dimensions. New Dimensions is on permanent hiatus. It no longer exists. And I was talking with Chad earlier, and he said that now that he has all of this additional free time ahead of him, he'll probably work on a book. Maybe something by Stephen King. Hey, let's check back in with Doug. Doug, are you there, Doug? Can you hear me?
Wax on, wax off.
Oh boy. No, he's not
maybe
black.
we have a problem here. Punch that up again. You know, I think Doug has seen too many Karate Kid movies. But hey, let's head out to Southwick Zoo. We're gonna look at more wonderful animals with our friend Tina.
And this is our friend, Mr. Chinchilla.
Yeah, Cheesecake the Chinchilla.
Cheesecake.
Mhm.
Oh my
And
God,
earlier I
look
saw
at
him, he was in a jar. Why was he in a jar?
Because he feels safe and comfortable in the jar. In the wild, they sleep in between the rocks up in the mountains and stuff.
He feels safe
So-
and
So you would
comfortable
normally
in the
find
jar.
them tucked away somewhere.
Yes.
Or in a jar. Chinchilla in a jar, new from Kraft.
Yep.
And is he really soft?
Yes.
Oh, this is like
It's coat.
one of those super fuzzy blankets you have in the wintertime.
I want to see one of them in person.
Stay soft from cornstarch. In the wild, they would rub the rocks to make a dust, and they roll in the dust. They don't clean themselves in water; they clean themselves in dust.
So this guy never takes a bath.
No, except in cornstarch.
Cornstarch.
He rolls around in cornstarch.
Yes, and that's what keeps them clean and soft.
And what does he eat?
He eats
Cornstarch.
sunflower seeds, pellets, and all kinds of
eats
fruits and
cornstarch.
vegetables.
Is this about as old as he'll get?
I
mean, as old,
lady's
as
an
big as he'll
absolute
get.
riot.
Hopefully he'll get a lot older.
No, this is as big as he gets, and they only live to be about 8 years old. He's 6.
He's 6.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a senior citizen right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure is. They breed a lot better in captivity, and you can find them anywhere in the United States in any pet store. Very expensive to buy, though. Mostly raised for their coats. Takes about 150 of them to make one coat.
Oh my
150
God.
of these guys.
Yeah, to make one coat. They're timid, but they make pretty good pets. They sleep all day, but they're up all night.
150 to make a coat.
So if you're a night person,
Great pet. Mm-hmm.
and if you're a day person, well,
Put it in another room.
better buy a cat.
Yeah.
And you even have dogs here at the Southwick Zoo,
No, this
or
is
Southwick's Zoo.
Nope.
You even have dogs here.
This is Roger.
Do you think the zookeeper feels safe and comfortable in her jar when she's not on camera?
Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit. This is a rabbit?
Yes, this is an English Angora rabbit.
Why does he look like a dog?
Because it's all his fur.
Man, imagine if
They're
Jedi Joy had
mainly
one of
used
these.
for shows, for their fur.
So these are specialty type rabbits.
Yes, you won't find them in the wild. They wouldn't be able to survive in the wild with all their fur this way. They were bred this way.
So it's been inbred generation after generation.
She
And what do
is
these
a
guys
little
eat?
rough
Carrots?
handling them. I
Carrots,
have noticed
apples,
that, in my
rabbit
opinion.
pellets,
Nothing
lettuce,
bad. Just she's
cauliflower,
just a little bit
all
rough.
fruits and vegetables.
And is he full grown?
Yes.
She probably tense being on camera.
Can't see his face. There you go.
Oh, yeah, it's tough to see his face.
Yeah, he's full grown. And I believe he was donated here.
I mean, does he ever bite, or is he
Now and then when he's scared.
scared right now?
Yeah, very scared.
He doesn't like the hot lights and
Probably not.
all this attention.
No. He's a show rabbit. He was anyway.
Show
And he
rabbit.
wouldn't make a good pet unless you can sit with him day after day, combing him for hours. Because he'll get all knotted up if you don't.
Yes, more wonderful animals at Southwick Zoo, and let's see if we can check in with Doug again. Doug, are you there?
For Christmas, I want a big airplane, just like that one.
Just a reminder, this guy is an executive at Warner Brothers now, apparently. I don't know if that's really true or not, but I'm gonna say that it is regardless. And I do believe that someone like this would be the one person to make it from this show.
Please, I want an airplane.
I don't quite understand this. Doug, is something wrong? Can you hear me?
Thank you, Marcia.
You know, this whole satellite experiment just doesn't seem to be working out. Hey, somebody get Doug out of the hot sun! I think his mind is
What's he
frying
got
out
here?
there in the hot sun.
What are we looking
We'll
at?
check back in with him a little later. By the way, outside props. Dan Boyle, responsible for all of our outside props
Haagen-Dazs.
exclusively here on Primetime. Next time, Dan, though, make sure the box is filled with all sorts of goodies. That would be appreciated immensely. And hey, it's that time of the program. The 6-time Grammy Award winner, Jimmy Sturr, and the Jimmy Sturr Band. Yes.
Why does it have to be Jimmy Sturr and the Jimmy Sturr Band? Don't let this be the end. All it is going to be the last segment. Man, burn it up, brother. Wow. Building the fence around the polka. He is. He was going to town. Look how happy he is. Arriba! Look at him go. Man, they're burning this county fair tent to the ground. Look at the old people back there that just couldn't give a shit. Oh, they look so, they're just like, oh.
Yes, Jimmy Sturr and the Jimmy Sturr Band, and let's go for it one more time. Doug, are you there, Doug? Can you hear me? I don't know. I think he's helping them land planes or something. Hey, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah,
this
that was, man.
concludes
That was
our
really
rehearsal. Good night, everyone.
That was serious business. Production staff, Doug Locke. Yeah, right. What was she doing? Al Noble. We can check in with Savvy Guy or Yo Man. I was actually thinking about showing you someone, looking at someone new. I really have no idea what to think about this. I don't have any idea what it's going to be like. Here we go. So I'm going in pretty much completely blind to this. I watched like 10 seconds or something.
And hot. Like a fried tomato. I'm a little bit spacey today. And just feeling some grief as I
8 Ball with War Chief and some other
let
dude.
go of the old
All right, see you later,
operating system.
ATF Media.
As I release what no longer serves, and as I remember that that operating system was never me. It's a great time right now, my friends, to look at the operating system.
Okay.
Perhaps it's already been revealed to you very clearly what it is.
We're very early on in this, but I'm going to say she's got her own lingo, which is good. That's a good sign. It means there's a lot of lore, a lot of world building. This whole idea about operating systems is kind of interesting.
How it's not serving, how it doesn't even make sense, and how it's not even really true to who you really are and who you have expanded into. Who you are becoming and who you have become and who you are. So,
Maybe
it could be a
hammered.
grieving process of something that we thought was us for a long time. Even if it's something we really are ready to let go of, there can be some grief in there. And what we're facing is a new, bright future that can feel very unknown and exciting and exhilarating and filled with a lot of dancing and play and fun. I'm hot and red like a tomato because I was literally just in a hot yoga class
There you go.
where I cried and surrendered and let go.
Wow.
What's something in your life right now that you are letting go of? And it's not about trying. Letting go is not a trying. Letting go is it's a moment of grace. It's a moment of pure grace.
A moment of pure grace to let go. What a great video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers to this life, to this moment, to this breath,
Hell yeah.
to this body, to this temple, to this wind, to this nature, to these trees, to these birds, to the sky, to the earth, to the rocks, to the soil, to the rain, to the water,
Fantastic.
to the elements. Cheers and thank you.
What an energy.
May we all remember this
May we all remember.
truth. That we are held in the arms of love and that God is touching us in every moment. We're never alone. God is always with us. And I'm not talking about a Christian God that judges you or has stories and matrix of right and wrong, good and bad. I'm not talking about that God.
Okay.
I'm talking about the God that loves you in your sins, in your brokenness. The God that doesn't judge you if you make mistakes or feel.
Anyone celebrating life this hard is teetering on the edge. Yes, that's content. That's where the content lies.
Sexual attractions. The God that doesn't judge your attraction or sexual desires, so long as they're not causing harm to you or others. It is beautiful and it is innocent. I think the most important piece here is to not cause harm to others or yourself. If something that you're doing is causing harm to yourself and others, you might want to consider looking at that and being a little bit disciplined and changing that. I'm doing that myself right now with addictions and things.
Okay, addictions. All right. Okay, so we got there's a pretty big lore piece falling into place.
Certain substances and certain dopamine-inducing things that aren't serving me
They're
or
not
my
serving her.
relationships, and really just with compassion, being honest that it's happening, and then being brutally honest to the point where it's like uncomfortable and it doesn't feel good and it's like, ugh, this is horrible. Better to be honest and truthful and feel uncomfortable and shitty than to be in a lie and feel good or feel, yeah. The truth might hurt, but it will also set us free.
Do you see that dramatic drink and then into the platitude?
Cheers to the truth.
Cheers
and
to
like
the
and
truth.
Subscribe and comment and all those good things. All right.
All right, guys, that was Amanda Love. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So her @ is Amanda B. Love. Here's some of her other stuff. My Journey with Pleasure. The Erotic Roots of Spiritual Awakening. This video will either offend you or change you. Mental Breakdown. Look, she's got the breakdown hair. Oh my gosh. How long is this video? Oh, that's a live stream. Oh, it's 32 minutes. Okay, I've got to come back to that at some point. Okay, listen. Trust me on this. If you ever see a video where someone has their hair like this and there's anything crazy in the title, you have to click on it. This is contacting female home planet hair. Like, it's going to be good content. Yeah, this is Amanda Love. @ Amanda B with 2 E's, Love. Nah, no other real information. Almost 5.5K subs though. But like, look at her views though. Like 145, 100, 221. Journey with Pleasure, 5, 6. Oh, that's a live stream. Oh my god. Anyway, I just thought she'd been popping up in my algorithm, and I thought, you know what? I've seen it come up so many times. I'm just gonna check it out. So, yeah, she does got some subs. I think it's interesting. I don't think we'll have to get more into the lore for me to really get to understand her. But I think there's enough there to look into her a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go. I will be back tomorrow for Memphis Wrestling. But thanks for hanging out, watching Dorunda, and meeting Amanda Love with me. I do appreciate it. Hopefully